Well. How is everyone doing today? Good to see you all here. Looks like it is just a little bit of a smaller crew than usual, but that's fine. We're all here just to hang out and have a good time, and I am so grateful to see all of you here again today. Oh, and of course now the loud music kicks in. Let me just drop that down a little. Hope everyone's doing well and not had an absolutely ridiculously crazy week. Hey Spider Macho, good to see you here. I was hoping you and Amra's here as well. Perfect. That means we're going to be able to continue on with our Komorebi counter this week. I'm doing good, Amra. I'm a little tired. Yesterday was absolutely just frantic at work, so I'm a little more tired than normal, but that's why I like doing these streams, because this is a chance for me to have dedicated time to sit down and just play a game. I don't get that as often as I would like these days, so I look forward to these. Ty, hanging out in chat as well. How you doing? You're on your correct account this time, I think. That's a nice change of pace for you. Theo, welcome. Loving the clickbait this week. There's no clickbait here. We discovered this last time. Isaac is absolutely a well, we can't say absolutely a bad guy. Potentially a bad guy. We'll do a quick summary once we get into the game for people who aren't familiar with the plot so far, or if someone missed a little bit of the last stream, we'll catch everyone up so we know where we are. Guy does things. Welcome. How you doing, my friend? And then T is better, and 507 Cat's little problem. Names I don't recognize, but welcome into the stream. Hope you enjoy your stay here and are keen for some interesting storytelling that we're about to experience. Also, T is better. Fantastic username. 100% agree. Tea is better. Tea is the drink of choice. Tea is the drink for people that like to conquer foreign lands. Tea is the choice of the monarchy. Probably just as well Acor's not here, otherwise that would have been absolutely clipped. Who else we got here? Gray, welcome. Gray is a tea aficionado, absolutely. You'll appreciate that. Gray says, not gonna lie, I read Cat's message as tea is better than men. Not quite how that goes, but I can see how you got there. Spider-Machi, you missed the end of last stream. Okay, that's alright. You didn't miss too much in terms of the story. We're working towards basically the second act at the moment. 507 Cats, sadly you won't be able to catch the stream, but you want to wish everyone here a good weekend, all that stuff. I'll be sure to binge the VODs, have fun with the game Grail. It's a favorite of yours. That's amazing. I love that this game's got a little bit a niche community, and it seems everyone that I've bumped into that's played this game have said that they loved it, and that's awesome. That is always a good sign for me. Where it's oh, you know, there's a small bunch of people who've discovered this game, but everyone rants and raves about it, being yeah, this is amazing. It tends to be that the issue is that these games just fall into a slightly more niche genre that not a huge number of people enjoy, and that's fine. Someone's got to make games for those people, and those gamers are going to be super appreciative of it. There's a bunch of other stuff out there like it, but in that same kind of vein, where it's niche genre, but it's got a cult following essentially for it. All right, yeah, Isaac is a bit of a sweetheart. I do agree with that, and also once again, thank you to Can You Don't. They're the one who nominated the game for the stream. I hope you feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it. Because it looks like we're probably going to have about a total of maybe 5 or 6 streams of this game to actually be able to complete it. But I'm keen to see it through. We've come this far, and it would be wrong to not do the story justice. To drop it off now would just be doing the game a disservice. We need to see it through. We need to actually come to its conclusion. It's a mission. It'll take a while, but the journey will be worth it. And on that note, we should begin. Definitely wasn't trying to time that with the music, not at all. 28 name drops so far. That's actually kind of impressive. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Let's jump across to the stream here. Perfect. We've got our nice chill music hanging out in the background. All right. So, where did we get to last time? Last time in Komorebi, Sorry, I'm going to be having some fun with it this stream. Basically, we were doing the content between essentially Act 1 and Act 2 of the plot, where the main cast of characters went out to a nightclub to celebrate the arrival of the main character, Delta, arriving in town and starting their new life. They went out for a few drinks, they met a new friend, who I want to say was called Clace, who is, for all intents and purposes, the dev putting themselves into the game, and I absolutely love that. And yeah, they kind of got to know each other a little bit. They returned home afterwards carrying armfuls of alcoholic drinks, as you do when there's an open bar. And then, well, they bumped into an outsider, because as a reminder, in the world of Komorebi, there are two main things at play here. Komorebi itself, which is the fact that a lot of people have visions that allow them to experience the future of their lives. Although that future isn't necessarily locked in, you can deviate somewhat from it, but people consistently get visions of their future. Then there's the second factor, which is there is an overbearing technology company called the Argus Corporation, who have basically instilled their tech into every aspect of people's lives, to the point where there is essentially a social credit system in place, where your everyday actions and activities are measured and ranked and scaled. So on their way back, they bumped into someone who is classified as a zero, someone who exists outside of the system. In order to kind of help them understand society a little bit more, Isaac, our lovely, well, one of the protagonists, managed to provide them with a hacked phone and basically set up a fake profile for them. Precedent has already been done for this because one of our friends happens to be a famous musician. And in order to help them remain somewhat anonymous online, they are provided with a fake profile. So fake profiles exist in this world. We've just provided one for our new zero friend, whose name we don't even actually know yet. There's a few things they need to discuss in order to find somewhere private for them to be able to have these discussions about what they're doing and where to go from here. They have headed off to Clace's private airfield. That, I believe, is where we left off last time. Any questions? Any concerns? Do we understand what's going on? Do we not care? We're just here for the funnies and watching Graeldon stuff up lines here and there? Not sure, but hopefully that made sense to you. Also, the most important thing out of all this is that the Zero character, like each of the characters has like their own theme. Zero's theme is the sexy sax theme, and that's definitely a fact. That's definitely what it's called in the game. I'm just going to adjust my mic a little bit here. There we go. That's better. All right. I think without any further ado, we should get into it. What is Zero fighting for? Zero is basically fighting to help dismantle, well, not necessarily dismantle, but the increase in population and the city build up and the reliance on technology means that people that living in the Zero communities on the outskirts of town are kind of struggling to survive. So they're protesting the rise of this technology because they feel that people's lives shouldn't be governed in this way. And at the same time, they're also trying to understand this type of society because it's not something they've lived in before. So there's a nice little kind of like interplay, and there's obviously some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some connections, I guess, to modern day society as well. Argus, for all intents and purposes, is a more amped up and, you know, exaggerated version of Apple. If Apple went really hard into personal and home security. What is Zero fighting for? Oh, Mega Man reference. Is that what it was? I completely missed it. No, I don't think we know Zero's real name yet. So, let's carry on and see what we can find out. Alright, so reminder, main player character is Delta. We have no idea what they look like, and they are very much a blank slate, but then we've got our other cast of friends that are around as well. Okay. Eventually, we make it to the airfield, and I start to look around. It was probably best to keep our plans quiet, so we chose to be cautious. The airfield is huge, and Clace starts leading us to whatever plane he prefers. Oh, cool. So Clace has more than one plane. Love that. We ended up choosing a plane that was at the far back of the field. One that didn't look like it had been used in a while or would be used anytime soon. The moment we enter, Clace closes the door behind us, leaving us in complete darkness.
You ready for the big reveal?
Please, I can wait no longer.
Some of this could definitely be taken out of context. Maybe this was not the best place to start the stream. I've never been in a private jet before, so I don't know what to expect. Since Clace is hyping it up though, my expectations are shooting sky high. A moment later, when he turns on the lights, these expectations are exceeded.
And here we are. A real home away from home.
I mean, to be fair, I would be pretty happy if I had a private jet. But Hisnitch, welcome. How you doing, my friend? It seems like Clace has multiple private jets. So, you know, everyone complains about Taylor Swift going everywhere in her private jet. I think Clace might be a worse offender. Hisnitch, no, you haven't missed much. We literally just started the stream. We're picking up where we left off last time, where the main crew have just arrived in the airfield. So not missed much yet at all. Just been doing the general intro stuff. I quickly scan the room, taking in the beautiful sight before me. There's no windows, just one big screen set to a scene of the sky. Without even lifting off, it already feels like we're soaring the heavens.
Whoa. Incredible. What do you think, Taylor?
A moment passes. No response.
Taylor?
Taylor is either still very hungover or more likely completely and utterly overwhelmed. We look over in Taylor's direction and he's covering his face with his hands. Upon hearing us call his name, he spreads his fingers and looks out at us. Or maybe he's scared of heights. As he realizes the lights are on, he uncovers his face and remains silent.
So much for thriving in the dark.
Nini?
Oh, I
Scared of
didn't
the dark?
realize you were afraid of...
Huh.
It's because I'm not.
Yeah, sure, Taylor.
Oh, I see.
Before this can go any further, the Zero steps forward. Though I have to say, it's a bit peculiar that Taylor is afraid of the dark.
Damn, you weren't lying when you said this guy's famous. And rich enough to call a jet his home away from home, too? Maybe you can just pay off Argus if we ever get in trouble.
Bribe the authorities? Yeah, that would go over so well.
Just realized I may need to bump up the volume a little more for the voiceover for you. Give me a sec just to amp that up. That way we can be a little more on par. Apologies if you've already adjusted your audio, but that should be a little better now.
Probably not. And that's not why I call this place a home away from home either. The
Also-
real reason is... well, I guess it's kind of complicated.
I did want to ask, do you guys want me to actually move the chat up to the top right section? Because I've noticed that we often tend to have the chat box overlapping a little bit with the actual text boxes of the characters. So give me a shout if you want me to move that chat box up to the top corner.
I'll take your word for it.
Or we could be real friends and let him explain. This place clearly means a lot to him, right?
I mean, it means a lot and it's worth a lot. It's a private jet. Clace looks both excited and happy as Taylor defends him. Without wasting another moment, he jumps right into his explanation. Okay, yeah, gets in the way. All right, cool. We'll move that. One sec. Whoop. There we go. You guys are up the top now. Job done. I love that it's nice and easy to be able to do that kind of stuff. There's still a lot of things that I need to figure out when it comes to managing things on here. Actually, what I might do, because now you're in... there's no good spot to put you, because now you're in the way of the characters. Can I make you a little bit... I don't want to make you too small, though. What if we... ooh, can I... give me a second. Is there a way to make it so that it's not linked for the horizontal and vertical? There's not. Damn. I can put you guys up there, but I can't make it any narrower without making the text so small that it's unreadable. That's kind of annoying. Is the better way to actually swap these around? And we put the chat over there. and I go up in that corner. Is that better? Possibly. Because it's the chat names overlapping with the characters that's a little bit annoying. Feels a little bit weird being on the other side, but that's fine. At least this way, I think we won't be overlapping with the characters quite as much. That feels like it looks good. Alright, you guys can let me know if you want to swap back, but I feel like that's better, at least. Alright, without wasting another moment, he jumps right into his explanation.
Well, you know how your home makes you feel, right? Safe, secure, and happy? It's familiar, so it has a lot of meaning.
Yeah, I feel that. Coming home after a long day at work, couldn't think of a better feeling if I tried.
How about being able to work from home? That's also pretty good.
Well, I'm always traveling, so I don't really have a place like that. These jets all share the same internal design, so it's the closest thing I had. No matter where I was in the world, I could always come to a place like this. And for some reason, that gave me comfort.
No, I have to kind of agree with that. In previous job that I was doing, I worked as a training manager, a regional training manager, which meant that I had to travel around to stores in different locations quite a bit, which basically meant that every week I was flying somewhere else. So, yeah, having that feeling of home is kind of important, and being able to come back to what you know and something that's stable does actually make a big difference for your feeling of comfort and mental health as well. So yeah, I can relate to that somewhat. We all look at one another before Dante jumps in with some trademark snark. I would love to have a friend, or even like myself, be able to label as, yeah, your trademark snark. It's what everyone knows you for.
Depressing, but it makes sense.
Yeah, that basically sums up the life of an idol. But during my visit, I hope Isaac's home can feel special too. Never really had the chance to live in a normal house.
And Zero, that is why we let our friends speak. Look at all that info you were just about to shut down.
Sorry, the cold shoulder kind of became my go-to. In the city, it's best not to risk exposing my identity. Though I guess now that won't be an issue.
I'm interested to learn more about this guy. He tilts his head toward Isaac.
You want to get this show on the road?
Hell yeah. Upon seeing the jet and hearing Clace's story, I guess we got a bit derailed. But the Zero was right. We had some important business to take care of.
Right. Sorry. Where was I?
I heard something about the pupil system and VP.
Yes.
No clue what they are, but apparently they helped you cheat Argus.
Right. You ready? I think it's time we all take a seat.
As we all sit down, Isaac looks lost in thought. I guess it wouldn't be easy to explain how he cheated Argus, especially considering that's the company that he works for. It was a world first, after all. If it was easy to do, it would have been done by now.
Please kill me. I can't take the suspense anymore.
Oh? You want us to beat Argus to it?
Not funny, Dante.
It was actually kind of funny.
The Zero smirks as Isaac finally breaks free from his train of thought.
Right. So, the pupil system is basically a database of everybody. It's
Okay.
probably where the eyes of Argus find themselves the most. When we signed up, that's actually where we put all our info in.
Interesting.
I have write access, which means I can create identities. When someone needs to sign up at my store, I can help them do it. Argus just trusts me not to do anything more than that. I
Sounds
guess.
like Argus made a mistake trusting you. I agree, Spider Macho. It would be nice if there was a bit more variety in the character designs. Like, I get it's a furry game, but that doesn't mean everyone has to be canine in nature. They could have spread out a little bit more. Where are my cat girls, damn it? I want cat girls.
You really have that much power?
Power to make cat girls.
I've worked for them ever since I was old enough to work. If there's anybody they trust with this clearance, it's me. There is a bit more to it, however. Like Clay said, he has a second account, a fake name and a fake identity in the name of his security. There's already a precedent for this sort of thing. I just had to look into it. Fake accounts and identities are mostly made for two groups of people. Celebrities, like our pop star friend, and those who make use of the VP program. Believe it or not, fake identities are created almost every day for it.
Okay, so fake identities are definitely not uncommon. I was kind of right earlier.
Okay, but what is it?
The Vision Protection Program.
That can't be real.
Vision Protection Program. Is that in relation to Komorebi?
Oh, it is. People don't always have the best visions. In situations like that, Argus can give them a new lease on life. If you're a victim, or even commit a crime in your vision, they can relocate you.
Interesting. There was a thought I had earlier around where this game could be going. What was it? Because we know that in their visions, they don't see any of them together as a group. But they also don't talk much about what actually happens in their vision. And it's considered like a social faux pas to discuss or ask other people about their Komorebi, about their visions. I do have a little bit of a theory, which I think I started articulating last time, which is that these characters are all going to be involved in basically the takedown of Argus Corporation and removing this social credit system. I think my hunch is that that is probably the direction the games are going to go in, but the reason these people in particular are very reluctant to talk about their Komorebi is because it shows them doing something that is, according to the norm of society, wrong. And that is they see themselves taking down Komorebi. But they see the events after that, where Argus Corporation doesn't exist, but also as a result, they're not able to stay in touch with their friends. So it's gonna be interesting to see where this goes.
It's mostly a precautionary measure to stop crimes from occurring. At least, in theory, they want to stop bad visions from coming to pass. If you wanted to create an identity without suspicion, that'd be how.
Okay, yeah, that makes some kind of sense. He scoffs and shakes his head.
I'm actually kind of surprised, Isaac. Now that you explained it, I think I believe you.
Yeah, it was pretty simple at the end of the day. At least for somebody in my position.
Isaac's definitely the closest we have to like a proper protagonist in this.
Don't get cocky now.
Yeah, I only beat the system that governs our lives. Totally not a big deal, all things considered.
Yeah, nice way to play it down.
You need to work on your sarcasm, Isaac.
Well, I'm learning from the best.
We laugh and the tension in the room seems to disappear. I can understand Isaac's explanation at least a little bit. There's a lot of pieces falling into place all at once. Clay's second account, the VP program, the pupil system, and Isaac's rank. Even those sales he lost at work, they all combined to let him pull this off. It really feels like a culmination of everything I've experienced thus far.
So basically, you walked a digital tightrope, and now it's up to me to follow your footsteps?
Absolutely. More than anything, I think Isaac just found a loophole and has been able to kind of abuse it. He's not broken the law, he's taken advantage of systems that were already in place, and he just happened to have all the tools necessary to make it work. And yes, Spider, I am absolutely disappointed as well that they gave that whole explanation and Komorebi wasn't even name dropped once. Very disappointing.
A bit of a bad metaphor, if you ask me. I walked that rope, but turned it into a road for you. All the risky business is already taken care of, I promise.
If you say so.
Yeah, he doesn't want to take any more risk than necessary.
I do.
So, let me get this straight. Cypher taught you how to put fake identities on phones, and your position at Argus lets you verify those fake identities.
Yeah, more or less.
More or less.
I am in Isaac's head now.
And you set it up like you were in the VP program, so it's technically the same as Clay's burner account?
Yeah, basically.
Well, I didn't want to snoop on him in the pupil system. But from what I gathered while studying, they're essentially the same. And how many times has Clay's gotten in trouble for using that account?
Honestly, never.
Exactly. Things are gonna be fine. As far as Argus is concerned, all of us are the same now. So what do you say? Ready for your new life? Zero?
Can we please give Zero an actual name?
Yeah, I think I am.
Isaac smiles and takes out that phone once again. He places it down in front of the Zero, who quickly picks it up. I can tell he's confused, but he also looks incredibly happy.
Welcome to the system, Chiron.
Chiron, there we go. He's got a name now. Not a bad name, actually. Kind of fitting. I like it.
Chiron? Is that my name?
Yep, picked it out myself. What do you think?
It's perfect.
Hang on a second. Okay, no. I was trying to think, I'm like, hang on a second. Do all the characters have the same number of letters in their names? No, they're either 5 or 6 from what we've seen so far, but they're all very short, almost 1 or 2 syllables. We've got Delta, Isaac, Taylor, Dante, Clace, and now Chiron. They're all very short. There's no one coming in here and be like, oh, I'm Angelica.
So I can use this just like anybody else.
You sure
sure
can. And don't forget about the tavern this weekend. From now on, you'll never drink booze off the streets again.
Quite literally. That was kind of gross, Chiron. What? Just licking booze off the pavement is not normal behavior.
That was not my proudest moment.
And you had absolutely no reason to do that.
What about this one?
It's definitely up there. I don't know how to repay you, Isaac.
Maybe less of that cold shoulder?
I'll work on it for sure.
He smiles. Probably the first genuine one I've seen from him. I take the city life for granted, and this made me realize it. What was normal for me was life-changing for Chiron.
Wait, he's gonna come to the tavern with us? Is that really a good idea?
It absolutely is. Chiron's our friend now.
I'll go scope it out, but I don't see why not. Want to meet back here in a few days and talk it through?
Sure. Sounds good to me.
We need to have a base of operations to start planning to overthrow, well, not the government, but the biggest tech corporation on the planet.
Oh, is this gonna be our new HQ?
I won't be leaving anytime soon, but that's just because I don't have anywhere else to go.
Make yourself at home. The couches probably beat the street. And yeah, we can meet again here when we need the talk. Like I said, these things are really safe and secure.
So, like Taylor said then, new HQ?
Yeah, new HQ.
He smiles, and for some reason, everything feels weird. It's like we were at a turning point in our own history and the history of society. Chiron would always and forever be the first Zero to integrate into the system. Oh, and don't forget, at the end of each little chapter, there's a BOOM! Maybe there was hope for everyone else after all. There it is. I had a hunch it was coming up soon. So I was like, alright, let's just remind ourselves this is a thing that happens. Spooks me every time. I'm still waiting for us to actually get to, like, the chapter 2 level select screen. Alright, we're back at our therapist appointment. I sit in the chair with my face in my hands. The counselor immediately notices my fatigue and tilts his head. Looks like I was still recovering from our nightclub outing. Well, it's not like a bunch of other stuff didn't happen, but yeah, I guess everything was just starting to take its toll on me. Moving is a big deal, and now there's all this extra stuff. Of course, I had to keep a lot of it secret from my counselor. The one person who's supposed to help me organize my head. Ironic. He waits for me to speak, but I don't. Eventually, he decides to get things started.
Things must have been rather hectic. It's not like you to be late, Delta.
I tell him there's a lot going on. I'm only half truthful. I say that our nightclub outing was intense and I'm still catching up on sleep. Based on his understanding of my life, it's clearly enough to sate him.
Well, that makes sense to me. It was your first big outing. I'm sure you saw your friends in a new light, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Hopefully you like what you're starting to see. That may
What are you trying to
change
say?
if they feel like they've won you over. At that point, a lot of people feel like they can stop trying. It's not a bad thing, and it's something we all do. Enjoy this as a honeymoon phase, though, not the standard. You may start to notice their courtesies and time slowly fade away.
Ah, yes. Friends making more of an effort at the beginning of a friendship as they try to get to know you, learn about you. They will do things they don't normally do in order to make you feel comfortable. And then over time, that will fade away and you get to see the real them.
But on the bright
Happens in
side,
relationships,
at
too.
least you won't be tired like this all the time. I'm assuming it was a one-of-a-kind welcoming celebration?
No, we're doing this every
If
weekend.
not, I may be kind of concerned for your friends.
You don't need to be concerned for my friends. They're used to it. Be concerned for me. He lets out a soft chuckle like he was attempting to make a joke. I tell him that they like a good time, but this was definitely over the top.
Sounds exciting. But I have to ask, is alcohol commonplace in your group?
For some of them, yeah. I nod. Common, but not a focus. A genuine concern, but I tell them we're just enjoying my arrival.
Very well. Just make sure you're drinking for the right reasons. Sometimes people ask how much instead of why. Think about that if you ever want to self-evaluate.
That is actually pretty solid advice. I don't know why I'm surprised. Like, this game has been pretty good on the topics of like mental health and things like that, so it makes sense that they would have the right kind of approach to like a very gentle touch on the topic of addiction as well. This seems like a good time to tell him about the bar. Alcohol use might be prominent for a while, especially on New Year's Eve. Oh yeah, because it's like late December. Oh, and I also slip in the fact that a celebrity bought the booze and moved in.
I see. So you weren't the only one moving in with Isaac. Interesting. Just make sure this celebrity doesn't pressure you into anything. A lifestyle like that can be just as dangerous as it is glamorous.
I'm sure for this counselor, Delta is probably the most interesting and wacky patient that they have. Like, oh yeah, just moved, however far across the country, relocated life, has a bit of a weird background, doesn't experience Komorebi, very neutral outlook on life and social score, and all of a sudden a celebrity moves in. I'd be sitting and be like, what is this guy's life? How does this happen? I'm sure like you guys have probably know someone like that in your life where you're just like, how is your life so fundamentally different in terms of the encounters that you have? Is it just because of the people you know? Is it the places you go? Is it sheer dumb luck? Like, how does this happen? I had a friend over here, a colleague that I worked with, who, for want of a better description, I would say that their life felt like it was something out of a sitcom, because, you know, once every week or so when I would have a catch up with him about what's going on, he's always got a story to tell where I'm just like, this feels like you've just pulled it out of some rom-com or sitcom, something like that. Like, how is this a real thing that is happening in your life, and how is it happening this frequently? Like, these events should be a once per year freak of nature accident, but for you it happens on a weekly basis. It's bizarre that that's the reality of some people's lives. Maybe just by comparison, my own life is just damn boring. I shake my head. It wouldn't be a problem. Place seems really nice. But he also experienced Komorebi, so I'm still the odd one out. And that's why I take these sessions, so I feel the need to tell him.
At this point, it's pretty unlikely that you'll run into anybody without Komorebi.
Komorebi.
Except for me, of course. The odds are just against people like us. But I have to ask, did he happen to tell you about his vision?
Let's see. He told me he got famous by recreating songs he stole from it. I've only got one option to say here. I can't say anything else.
Interesting. You know, you see a lot of people do that. Artists with visions always seem more established in the future. The temptation to steal an idea or two is more common than you think.
That's a really interesting approach to have. You have visions of your future where you're performing a song that you haven't written yet. So you take what you can remember of the song and use that to create it now so that you become famous in the future because of that song. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Fascinating stuff. I love those kinds of time loops. Luke, your craziest different friend is an opera singer who flipped to being an influencer during COVID. Oh god, that is quite a flip to take. He fiddles with his papers before resting them on the table beside him.
Have you ever heard of the stolen Renaissance? It's a bit of an older term, but it's still used quite widely.
No, I'm not familiar with that. I shake my head. Doesn't sound familiar to me. I'm a line early, damn it.
Well, right when the vision started, things were chaotic. They permanently threw society and technology down a different path. Some would even argue that it sabotaged a lot of positive change.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen.
This is hard to prove, but artists are a pretty good example. A lot of people ended up seeing futures where they created masterpieces. In their haste to recreate them, they fell short and ruined their careers.
So Luke, apologies if you had a second half to that message there, because I can see you ended it with "and." Unfortunately, the chat overlay that I've got on screen only shows me the top chat, not all chat, and I don't have a way to change it. Let me just check. Did you actually send everything else? I don't think you have yet. We'll see if it comes through. That would be rather crushing.
Now, think about all the great pieces of art in our history. There's so many, and their influence on things is incredibly clear. But can you think of any since the day Komorebi began?
Think about all the great pieces of art in our history. There's so many, influence on things incredibly clear. Can you think of any since the day Komorebi began?
There seems to be a rather peculiar halt, doesn't there? A lot of our greats taken away. A renaissance stolen. At least that's one of the more believable effects.
Interesting approach. More believable? That reminds me of our group at the nightclub. We talked about some theories of Komorebi name drop, even absurd ones involving aliens. It was cool to hear about how visions affected society on a deeper level, though.
You don't really stop to think about these things until they're brought up. But I deal with a lot of patients, and every friend group has an artist. It looks like your new acquaintance just got lucky. That's rare.
Also, you guys were dead on when you said, hey, it's a therapy session. There's going to be a ton of Komorebi name drops. You were absolutely spot on.
Some artists are open about stealing from their future selves. In fact, recreating something you saw in a vision is like another form of art. A new skill to be mastered, completely separate from the base medium.
I guess it's a question of like how vividly you can remember your visions. Because if they're like trying to remember a dream, it's something that you, again, it varies from person to person, but like for me personally, I can remember a dream for maybe like the first 5 minutes after I wake up, and then immediately it gets less and less and less and less clear until I barely even remember the dream at all. So being able to recreate something that maybe you effectively saw in a dream, yeah, I agree. That would be a skill. That would be something quite difficult. I never stopped to think about it like that, but then again, I've never had a vision. It's doubtful that you'd be able to remember every single detail of something you made. Perhaps they just took the most important pieces and filled in the blanks. Curious. And I think this is like similar to the idea that not everyone is able to generate like an image of something in their mind. Like if I ask all of you guys right now to think, all right, you know, in your mind, think about what an apple looks like. How big is it? What color is it? Does it have a stem, a leaf? Does it have stripes? Things like that. Some people can get like a beautiful 2D image. Some people can get like a 3D image and they can almost like rotate it in their mind. And some people can't generate an image in their mind at all. So that's an interesting one. I think there was a post over on our Discord that was talking about that like in more detail. I think it was in the AMA section at one point. But yeah, it's an interesting thought experiment, and it blows my mind to think about the fact that there are people out there who can't form those images in their mind for things that they've not seen before. Like even if something as simple as imagine a square, and I go, what do you mean? I know what a square is. What do you mean by imagine one? And on like a related note to that, there are people out there who don't have their own personal narration in their head. Like most of us have a voice that we use when we're thinking about things that are providing that ongoing moment-to-moment narration. Some people don't have that. And it's fascinating to me that there is that much variation even amongst humans. Luxio, I think the condition to have difficult to imagine things is called aphasia. You could be absolutely right on that. I don't have the time to Google check you right now, but I will assume you are correct. But yeah, there is a specific name for it, and there's also a specific name for not having an internal monologue. But I guess he's right. That'd be a measure of an entirely different skill. It's doubtful that you'd be able to remember every single detail of something you made. Aphantasia, the inability, for the mental monologue, that's it. Nice. Thank you. I'm not going to remember those words, but I will do my best. I love little tidbits of information like that. I still think it's weird that we borrow from the future, like it's a resource.
But then we have to talk about the more sinister theories. You know, like if somebody is responsible for Komorebi and all the visions. Imagine that. Having society's growth and art all in the palm of your hand.
We've got a name drop, but it's not in yellow. Now I'm scared. That would be catastrophic were it in the wrong hands. The other theories flood to the forefront of my mind. That Argus is responsible. In a way, that would work. Because if they have access to the technology, what's to say they don't also have access to the information within that technology? Amra, you good? What's going on? If they could control visions and make us see what they wanted, wow. Part of me doesn't even want to think about that. But the counselor did mention it in one of our previous sessions. Visions could just be a trick to lure people down a certain path. I spent the rest of our session sitting in near silence, almost terrified. The stolen Renaissance, then what else was taken from us? Maybe I truly am lucky not to be bound by a vision. A sudden worry for my friend starts to rise within me. Komorebi was a force. Komorebi always was a force that nobody could compete with. But it also happened to be created and could be managed. Well, then whoever was in charge would literally rule the world. And if it were Argus, then we may already be on their bad side. I'm scared. Hey, there's part 2. All right. Whew, we've got a lot to press on because I think there's actually 4 parts to this game, so we're only 25% done. All right. The good news is that we can skip over a lot of these little
Welcome to the
interactions if we want.
second of 4 fragment maps.
Hello, AI.
This will act the same as the first one, so no further guidance will be offered. Remember to read Delta's diary entries between pivotal fragments, and enjoy your journey.
Thank you for a tutorial telling me that there will not be a tutorial. I appreciate that. Achievement, get. Alright, where shall we go then? I, personally, because I'm just here for the main story, I just want to go through these pivotal moments up the top. So forgive me if I skip over a lot of the side content in this. But I just want to go through the main story because I am interested in this world that they've built.
Experience pivotal fragment. Grounded, yet free.
Why is it as soon as that like appeared on screen, the only thing that popped into my head was the Freebird song? Alright. If you could make them love you, would you still love yourself? Always love yourself. Just as planned, the gang meets up in the private jet. Everything was a bit more clear, but far from being set in stone, especially if we were planning to bring Chiron to the Wayfarer with us. Just by default, places like that already had above average security, but if Isaac really did pull this off, I guess there wouldn't be any issues. The paranoia that others felt is slowly finding its place inside of me. Chiron and Clace are sitting at one of the couches in the back. They either beat us here, or they've been here all along. For some reason, I'm surprised that they hit it off. They exchange smiles as they look down at Chiron's phone. Clace must be showing him what he can do with his new device. I bet it feels like a whole new world just opened up for him.
Hey, what are the lovebirds up to?
Alright, we're already starting to get more ships.
Me? And him?
Wow, when you say it like that, I'm offended.
Yeah, Taylor, read the room, you jerk.
No, I just meant...
Don't worry, Chiron, he's joking. Taylor's the king of putting people on the spot.
Yeah, but the crown is just way too heavy, so I leave it at home. Maybe you can come visit and take a look sometime.
Jesus Christ. Hits on everything that moves.
He's also the king of flirting at the worst possible time.
Ah, okay, if you're sticking with Isaac, should probably do their heart-to-heart. Well, I'm thinking actually when we get a little bit further through some of the content here, we'll do a poll, and we'll decide who it is that we're going to go all in on flirting with.
Whatever. We're bonding over crimes. Isn't that the best way to do it?
That's how you form the best friendships. Crime.
Definitely not.
And suddenly, the gravity of the situation sets in. No matter what, we were still aiding and abetting Azuro. Would that really make our bond stronger? For some reason, I doubt it. I really hope this has nothing to do with why they aren't in touch in their visions.
What were you two up to anyway? I hope we didn't intrude on anything.
He was just showing me some cool things I can do on my phone. Why do you
got any
ask?
games?
Is that a hint of jealousy I sense?
Like a freaking, 7-year-old child coming up to you like, hey, have you got a phone? Have you got any games? Can I see? Can I play? Can I play? Oh God. It begins.
No, I can do cool stuff on my phone too. Just didn't picture you two as compatible.
Wow, okay, yeah, they are being shipped.
He's pretty cool, actually. He even plays guitar. I'm letting him listen to some of my music.
It's really aggressive. Not a fan of music made on a computer, I guess. There's just something about the feel of those strings, you know?
As the conversation continues, we all move to seats of our own. Chiron really is just like one of us. I can't understand the logic of Argus. It's not like Chiron chose to be born on a colony, it was forced upon him. For example, if I left the city, I'd never be allowed to return. And if I had children on the colony, they'd be stuck there too. The choice to separate from Argus condemns your entire bloodline. Seems far from fair.
Well, more power to you two then. Maybe you'll get to feature on his next album.
And put an even bigger target on myself? Yeah, no thanks. I feel scared to even leave this plane. I'm working on it, though.
Yeah, Theo, it has taken us 3 streams to get to part 2, so your maths is on. If the content stays at the same pace, there's a chance that it is more front-loaded and end-loaded, and the bit in the middle is a little bit more streamlined, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how we go.
I hope you are, because I did some recon. Looks like you'll be joining us at the tavern for sure.
Drinks, drinks, drinks!
Oh? The sleuthing went well?
Far from sleuthing, but yeah. Just have a couple hoops to jump through.
Of course, more hoops. All of a sudden, I'm curious about what Isaac has to say. Finalizing our tavern plans was the whole reason we came here, after all. But now that he says Chiron can come too, I feel a bit more invigorated. And it makes sense to me now, knowing him and Clace were able to bond. He was scared to leave the plane, and Clace likes to hide away in here. Both things seem to add up perfectly to the sight placed before me.
Oops. What happened?
You were just thinking to yourself, I'm sure Graeldon's done with Komorebi by now. No, we're just getting started with Komorebi. But we're going to try and power through. I'm going to try and get less distracted with conversations like this. And Spider-Man says the channel should be named Graeldon because it's full of gay fairies. It's not full of Graeldon. Absolutely not. We've only got a handful of gay fairies in here. But you're all welcome to stay.
Just another thing for the pile, I guess.
Guys, it's not bad, I promise. But we'll have to sneak Chiron in the back door.
Okay, why?
What? Why?
Yeah, I'm confused too. I thought the whole point of this was for him to be equal. Now we're sneaking him in like he doesn't even have an identity?
Basically.
Want to tell us why?
He looks a little too smug.
I will, but you have to stop cutting me off every single time. I get that you're worried and confused, but you need to let me explain.
Yeah, number one, like, problem with a lot of this kind of content out there is just like, if people would articulate things and explain things like proper adults, we'd avoid a lot of these problems and confusion. What did I miss in the chat there? Anyone drawn him a fursona yet? No, but I've got my knight in shine and armor, and that's the best that I need for now. We might need to take a temporary break from Komorebi between each part. We'll see how far we get in this session, but yeah, it's something I'm open to, because I definitely wasn't expecting Komorebi to take this long, because a lot of the reviews said you could play it through in a day. So I guess we'll see how we go. We are going at a slower pace than most other people probably would, but we're trying to keep it up. Oh, Graeldon we get cat ear headphones. Oh boy. Yeah, because you can get the razor like clip-on things that sit on top of the headset. I don't think that's for me. I have considered getting a Templar helmet to wear on stream though, because I think that would just be hilarious and fun. Without a word, everybody simply nods.
Well, it turns out the Wayfarer is running on outdated software. I can only guarantee that my fix works if the place is up to date. We could try, but honestly, it'd be pretty risky.
Okay, that makes a bit of sense.
I guess that makes sense. But don't you have experience with out-of-date tech?
That's true. His car was far from current.
I feel like they'd notice if a random guy just pops up. Wouldn't we risk getting caught no matter what we do?
Not really.
Isaac smirks like he has everything figured out.
You know how sometimes they ID you a second time when you order drinks? Those handheld scanners are always up to date, maintained by Argus. So, if we arouse any suspicion, Chiron should pass that check just fine.
Okay, good to know. That's true. It also doubles as a method of payment. Yeah, the Razer headphones have cat ears. Like that's the thing. That's part of their branding. They produced actual, I think they're like magnetic or clip-on cat ears that you can put on top of their headsets. That is a marketing thing that they did, and it is very popular. 9 times out of 10, if you see a YouTuber or a streamer or someone wearing those little cat ear things, it's probably a Razer product. Dante held his phone up against one at a nightclub when we ordered tequila.
Kinda makes sense when I think about it. Didn't realize a version mismatch was that big of a deal.
It might not seem like it, but yeah. What we have right now is basically a key. I can't guarantee it'll work if they change the lock.
Everyone's silent, following through on their promise to let him speak.
We cool?
It all makes sense. Bypass the outdated tech and get them to use a handheld scanner. I looked up pictures of the Wayfarer and outdated does seem to fit. Why don't we just go to a more modern venue then? Why are we going to the Wayfarer?
I'm cool with all this if you are, but what happens if the handheld scan doesn't work?
And we run.
Oh, that's when we run.
Yes, we're on the same page. Excellent.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful. Chiron smirks and lets out a soft laugh. He scans the plane with his eyes and looks content.
Well, at least I know exactly where to run to. Thanks again, Isaac, for everything you've done.
No problem. Hopefully this is just the start of a new age. Did you see the latest headlines? About Hermes?
Well, that's a name drop we've not seen before.
Who?
The leader of Cypher.
Ah.
No one knows who they are, though. Just a code name that seemed to stick.
It turns out this guy is Hermes.
Can't say I have.
They threatened Argus. Said they won't back down. Apparently, they still want to get phones to all your friends. They said it'd either be done by them or by Argus.
An ultimatum. to Argus. It's certainly bold, but if you can pull this off, I'm sure they can too. No offense, but I'd wager Hermes is smarter.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree there.
Well, I don't think it matters if they can or not. If Argus doesn't step in, all the Zeros will starve and die. Remember, due to our rules, this is a hunger strike too. And not only that, but Cypher would step in, publicly overpowering Argus. They have the chance to save lives and their own public image. All they have to do is make the right choice.
Let the Zeros live in the city, you mean?
Doesn't sound that awful.
I don't see any other option for the people in power. It seems like a total checkmate, doesn't it?
Lose to a mysterious rebel organization or let innocent people die? If I were Argus, I think I'd know exactly what to do.
Just saw your
Pride
message
isn't
there,
always worth the
Spider.
price.
What if Hermes is the therapist and Chiron's dad? It's a good theory. I don't think Hermes can be the therapist though, because they've said that like he's in society. The therapist would not be able to be where he is if he were a Zero. Simple as that.
Well, Argus is so mysterious, we have no idea what they're thinking. If this is when they show their true colors, I just hope we like what we see.
Oh, we are not going to like what we see when the overbearing technology company shows their true colors. Definitely not.
Yeah, those protests seem to be getting pretty heated. I'd hate if they escalated into violence and people got hurt. Do you think Argus might force them out of the city?
I doubt it. Remember, the spotlight is on them now. Every move they make will be scrutinized as much as possible. It really looks like we might be moving toward unity for once.
It's open. He looks over at Chiron and smirks.
And in that case, we didn't do anything wrong. We were just ahead of the curve.
Yeah, yes. We were doing things badly ahead of time. As a therapist, the CEO of Argus, I highly doubt the CEO of Argus has enough spare time to also be a full-time therapist, Amra.
I guess I'm not surprised. We could see the tensions mounting right in front of us. Let's just hope that Argus wants to negotiate and compromise.
Did Cypher issue a timeline for this?
Good question.
Yep, right after New Year's. During the anime convention, too.
Sorry, anime convention? First I've heard of that.
Looks like it'll be an interesting couple weeks then. Happy to be part of the gang and have front row seats. And if the world goes down, well, at least we all go down together.
So interesting thought just popped into my head. If humans sometimes go to various conventions dressed as their fursona, do furries go to conventions dressed as their human persona? I don't think that's something I want to see. Furries wearing human suits sounds like the stuff of nightmares. No offense to anyone, but that does not sound like something I want to see.
Love the sound of that.
No, I don't love the sound of that.
Of course he tunes in at the
flesh
first mention
soda.
of getting down.
That's a good one. I like that, Hunter L. Flesh Sona. Ugh. Yeah, that sounds like something out of a horror game. My name is Gary, and when I'm not in wolf form, I dress like a human. they put a second fursuit. The furries at a furry convention, they wear an additional fursuit over their fursuit. Oh yeah. Given the names in this game, Argus is going to be the name of the CEO, and he's probably going to be either a love interest or declare himself God of the New World, possibly both. Yeah, I think you might be onto something there.
Hey, what can I say?
Ideally nothing.
I'm with Dante on this one. A small laugh between friends ensues, and everything seems a bit better. I'm a bit scared, since we seem to be on the verge of big societal change. But the uncertainty of what that change is starts to terrify me. I'd like to believe that Argus is good and they'll compromise with the Zeros. However, we hardly know anything about them, just that they're kind of in charge. Yeah, this could be like the outbreak of a massive civil war in this society, which is always a little scary. This is their chance to step in and show the world who they really are. The bad guys. And by extension, seal our own fates as well. Well, we just went a little anime there, didn't we?
So, what's next then?
Gray, you finished your tea. Now to decide what to drink next. Well, the correct answer is more tea.
Well, we have our game plan for the weekend. Let's say we meet at the Wayfarer after supper on Friday.
It works for me. Kinda excited to see what this place is like. I'll meet you nearby, and we can work on sneaking me in.
We have all the rest of the week between now and then. What are you going to do?
And only a few days later, it's time for the Quantum Leap.
I'm sorry, the what?
The what?
Oh yeah, they mentioned that the other day. I never did get an explanation on what it is.
Can you imagine that, like, it coming up to the year end, and they're all like, all right, so this year, it's not New Year's, it's Quantum Leap. What now? What's happening? Huh?
It's just a tradition I'm starting. You know how midnight is the best part of New Year's Eve? Well, we rig a few clocks so we get to do it 4 times in one night.
That's just silly.
Whoa, that sounds awesome. Will Chiron be able to come?
I'm not so sure about that right now. Let's see how things go at the Wayfarer.
I'm okay with that. Wouldn't want to be a thorn in anyone's side, but I do have one question. Could you take me to the Triple R?
All right, we're getting more name drops. What the hell's the Triple R? We all exchanged glances before directing our eyes towards... Oh no, Triple R was the cafe they went to for breakfast, I think. Yeah. We all exchanged glances before directing our eyes towards Isaac.
It's current. Shouldn't be a problem at all. How about we meet there tomorrow?
Yeah, it was the cafe. Cool.
Sure
My
thing.
memory is
It'll
not
be our
rubbish.
first group outing.
I promise.
Let's just hope that nothing goes wrong.
It'll be fine. It'll be a good test run.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna hope.
Taylor holds up his hand like he's raising an invisible shot glass.
Here's to, living life on the edge?
Could have done with a little more confidence with that one, Taylor. Chiron smirks, raising his hand up as well.
The best place to be.
Tension rising. Gray, you've got so many kinds of tea, it's hard to decide, to be honest. Pop a couple of options in the chat and I'll tell you which one to go for. Alright, and speaking of putting options in the chat, I think we need to have a vote on who we're going to pursue a little bit more. So, let me have a look. Can I just turn that off temporarily? Where do I do this? Yes, start a poll. So we've met all the dateable characters now then, I think. Who should we date? I need to change something else today. How many options can I add? Hopefully enough. It only lets me vote on 4. God damn it. Okay, we might have to do this a couple of times. Let's see what happens. So we've got Isaac, we've got Dante. I'm not putting Taylor in because Dante sucks. So actually that works then, because then we've got Clace and Chiron. Cool. Taylor's not on the list. So Isaac, Dante, Clace, Chiron, they're the ones we're voting for. Poll is up. Up to you. I will follow your lead. We'll see who we're going to continue on with dating. Immediately got a vote for Isaac. Ooh. Couple of... Ooh, people like Dante. Interesting. Wasn't expecting that. Let's see. We have 5 votes. If you hang out in chat, now's your time. Cast your vote. Apparently got 14 people hanging out. Chiron's not available? Chiron was on the list. At least I thought they were. They're there on the right-hand side. Looks like I can click on them and talk to them. That's Chiron there. Who is who? Isaac is, actually you can see them here, like on the left hand side, that's Isaac, he's the blue and black one. Dante is the purple and white. We're skipping Taylor in the middle. Clace is the one with glasses and is the musician, and Chiron is the 0.
You must experience all.
Yeah, fine, I know, we can't go any further. Okay, no one's going for Clace or Chiron. Everyone is going for Dante. Okay. Well, I guess Dante just might have to be the one that we go for. Yeah, Clace is the self-insert. For me personally, I think I was leaning towards Dante. I like their sense of humor. They seem a little bit more easygoing. Chiron does exist. They're there. Alright, yeah, 71% for Dante. That's kind of overwhelming. Alright, I guess that's what we're doing then. Gonna end the poll there. But that just helps me because it means that we can choose some of the flirty options when we're talking to Dante and see how he feels about it. We're gonna have to find a way to let Isaac down gently though. Oops. Alright, end the poll. We've got our answer. Right, let's go talk to Dante.
Experience heart-to-heart fragment. Dante 2.
Let's do it. Let's get gay. Not a sentence I ever thought I would say. I enter the triple R, and my hunger and thirst is immediately apparent. It has a distinct smell, but it's a good one. Definitely loosens up the wallet. Speaking of that old expression, I'd be meeting Dante for lunch today. Oh, hang on, here we go. Gray, you've got Asian pear, banana chocolate, caramel apple, or white peach. Ah. Between those options... Actually, to help me answer that question, Gray, what's the weather like today where you are? I don't know what part of the world you're in. Is it cold, warm, somewhere in between, humid, raining? What's it like where you live? And what time of day is it? I need that information. Also, what's your address, postal code, phone number, mother's maiden name, name of the first pet you ever had? No, I'm not trying to dox you, not at all. It's cold where you live. Okay. And it's in the afternoon. Perfect. Oh, okay. Time zone wise, we're not too far apart then. Only about a 3-hour time difference. Interesting. If I were you then, I would go for the caramel apple because that sounds like a lovely warming afternoon drink. So go for your caramel apple, mate. Alright. Speaking of that old expression, I've been meeting Dante for lunch today. He was the only person I knew that still carried around a wallet. A bit old-fashioned, especially when everything is forced onto our phones. But I guess it could still be useful for something, whatever that something could be. I eventually find him sitting at a table in the back corner. That's not where I expected to see him. We all kind of have a usual table. Ah, he's wanting to change them up from the usual. He's trying to let us know that this isn't just a meeting of friends. This is something else. And also, yeah, that is a great selection of tea. Yeah, East Coast USA. God damn it, I'm on the West Coast. I will maintain West Coast superiority. But I guess we weren't here as a group, it's just me and him. My one-on-one time has been kind of limited so far, actually. It was nice to be able to see my friends outside of our group dynamic. If anything, stuff like this would only serve to make our group dynamic stronger. He notices me and waves me over. Things get off to a quick start. He's typing away at a laptop in front of him, but multitasking seems to be no issue. Budget Airlines, welcome! Didn't realize you were lurking in the chat there. Hope you're doing well. West Coast, best coast. Hell yes. Something fruity to reflect the game. Yeah, that makes sense, Gray. I'm actually thinking, like, the more you're talking about it, the more I'm thinking that I need to make myself an extra cup of tea. Sadly, I've gone through all of mine already. Let's make another batch. I actually have a lovely little device here that I don't know I'm going to be able to show on camera. I think I can get it up just high enough. This lovely little thing here, which is a mud warmer. So that when I am doing streams or I'm working from home, if I get distracted, as long as I've got my cup on there, it can stay warm, like at a good drinkable temperature for 2 to 3 hours, actually. It's pretty good. That was a nice little Christmas present I got. Very happy with that. Since I wondered about it moments ago, I asked him about why he has a wallet.
Most people tend to start with a greeting, Delta. But I guess I'm just too cool for people to follow the rules. And if you must know, it was a gift from my father.
It sounds a little quieter. I'm just going to bump the volume up very slightly for you guys. There we go. Cool. There we go. I mean, yeah, that is a little bit rude. You know, you walk in, you're meeting a friend, and just go, "Oi, what's up with your face?" No hello. Ah, that makes sense. It's just a relic of a simpler time.
Basically, he told me we should never forget where we came from. I don't really know how a hand-me-down wallet helps with that, though. It might be one of those things that only makes sense to old people.
He laughs before closing his laptop. I guess work was over now. Yeah, Gray, if you live on the West Coast, most people are in the future from you. So, I used to live in New Zealand, which is basically the most in the future that you can get in terms of living somewhere. Always ahead of the curve for everyone else. That was always fun. Get to do New Year's first, and then if you've got people who live, friends who live elsewhere in the world, you get to celebrate New Year's with them again later.
Sorry about that. You never know when a good idea might hit you. It's a total lifesaver carrying around something I can jot notes in. In fact, I owe a couple of my best-selling ideas to this thing.
You can't jot notes on your phone? Sounds like being a writer is tough. I can't comment too much on that. I hadn't even considered the possibility of forgetting your own ideas. That is a very real thing. There are quite often times where like I'm going about my day and I have like this idea pop into my head of, oh yeah, that's gonna be like a great opening line for like this next video that I'm doing, or oh yeah, that's what I want to use as my out of 10 rating for the next review. And then sometimes I just completely blank on it an hour or two later. I'm like, no, I had the perfect idea and it's gone. I'm never finding it again. So I get in the habit of just making notes of things on my phone, and thankfully, because I do a lot of my work on Google Docs, I can access that directly on my phone. So I can actually do like script writing and stuff on a bus trip into work if I've got time and if my hands aren't so bloody cold that I can't feel my fingers. But all of a sudden, I'm mad at the thought. I can imagine how much it would suck.
Though, nothing helps as much as this.
He reaches for a cup and takes a large swig of coffee.
My greatest ally. Weaponized caffeine.
More like greatest addiction.
Honestly, I used to hate the stuff. I wanted my day to start when I got out of bed, but all the work just made it harder and harder for me.
I remember Taylor mentioning something different in the nightclub. Something about a contest that turned him into an addict. Dante immediately blushes and looks away from me.
Gotta be honest, I was hoping you forgot that one. If Taylor is good at one thing, it's embarrassing me.
I've wanted to win contests too. It's nothing embarrassing. Those companies can throw around a life-changing amount of money.
Yeah,
Hope I
well,
get to see
that's
that
the
one
thing.
day.
This wasn't a contest for money. The prize was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Ah, interesting. Like a trip around the world?
You could say that, yeah?
What do you mean you could say that? What did you get to do? Trip to the moon? He's being extremely vague. Why is this so embarrassing for him? I tell him that he has nothing to worry about. I won't be judging him. I'm gonna judge him a little bit.
Fine, but I'm only doing this to beat Taylor to the punch. Something tells me he's just waiting to drop this one on you.
He rubs the back of his head and lets out a nervous laugh.
It was Clace. I used to be a huge fan. Well, I guess I still am, but I really wanted to meet him. He had this brand of energy drink and used it to launch a contest.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Find the winning can, and you'd get to go on tour with him. I guess I thought that traveling the world with a pop star would be inspiring. I didn't win, though. I just ended up with a crippling addiction to caffeine.
Yeah, that's a pretty terrible spot to find yourself in. I didn't realize Clace had his own brand of energy drink. Oh, pretty good reference. I wonder if anyone would get it. Is this a reference to the Willy Wonka X Prime situation? Yeah. That's pretty extra. So is the entire idea of the contest, to be honest. But on the other hand, it'll drive sales and give him more exposure.
Maybe not tell Clace, though. If he finds out, then he'll know I've been putting on an act. I tried to be all oblivious, like I didn't really know who he was.
I mean, you pulled it off. I think you had all of us fooled. Suddenly, a lot of stuff about last week made more sense. At the club, Dante was the first one to speak to Clace when we got upstairs. And not only that, but when we were pre-gaming, Dante suggested the music he did. Okay, a little bit of a fanboy, We've got ourselves a secret little fanboy, don't we? Hang on, am I saying that? Okay. I think we go with the top one here. Yeah, don't worry, won't tell anybody. Secret safe. Because the bottom one is what Taylor would say, and we're not Taylor.
Thanks, Delta. Knew I could count on you. But I think I saw people start to turn and look. Maybe we should change the subject?
Right. Claes requested that we offer him privacy while he was here. At least Dante got what he wanted in the end, the chance to meet someone he admired, and a crippling caffeine addiction. I sit and wait, deciding to let him come up with whatever we talk about next.
Well, last time we talked, I remember I was working on my book. You'd be happy to know that progress has quite literally exploded. I guess it was only a matter of time before the floodgates opened.
Good. Progress is good. Glad that's coming along well for you.
That's kind of how I operate, though. I could go months without working, and it'd be no big deal. But once that ball is rolling, I have no problem making up for the lost time.
That is a very real thing, and it makes me curious as to, like, where the devs, or the author, really, of this story is pulling this from. Is this from, like, a personal experience? Have they got friends in these industries, and they kind of have been pulling some of this information from them? Because a lot of the stuff that they're talking about here is actually highly accurate. Again, to compare to, like, my own stuff, like, I get the same experience when I'm script writing. Sometimes it is hard just to get started on a script, and I've got to force myself to just be like, all right, I'm going to write just one paragraph, because then at least I'm making progress. And then once I've got one paragraph out of the way, it's like, oh, actually now I know what I want to talk about in the next paragraph, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And then if I've got no interruptions and nothing else to do, suddenly the script's done. Sometimes just getting started is the hardest part. You're absolutely right. Once the ball's rolling, it flows nicely. Yeah, it's all about momentum. Absolutely. I'm pretty sure that's common for people who make their own hours. The hardest part of writing is the first sentence. It really is. As long as he gets the job done, he's free to handle it however he wants, and I definitely am envious of having that level of, what's the phrase I'm looking for? The ability to manage your own schedule like that, for that kind of, like, work-life balance. That'd be nice.
Suddenly, that 12-month deadline doesn't seem too bad. In fact, I've even started thinking about what I want to do next. There's a whole world out there, and I've been locked in a room.
I'm fine with that. I like my room. Oh, thinking of traveling the world?
Maybe one day. But I gotta start small. I was actually thinking of reconnecting with some family.
The old
Believe
wolf
it or not,
pack.
my life doesn't fully revolve around Isaac.
Probably just as well, otherwise I might get jealous. Really? He fooled me.
Though, I'm starting to think that yours might. I mean, he told me that you two were gonna try dating. That probably means you'll be getting closer to me, too.
Interesting. So I wonder if this conversation would be different had we not taken that approach with Isaac. I like it when games kind of work your prior choices into the conversations in that way. This must have been a nightmare to plan out all the different variants to arrive at this point in the conversation, though. So well done to the devs for that, because trying to navigate all those potential threads and outcomes to make sure that you don't accidentally trip up and have the wrong conversation, it's got to be a bit of a spaghetti mess to maintain. Oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna have to find a way to let Isaac down. Oh dear. I don't think I, in goodwill, can do that top option. It doesn't bother me. I could easily handle both of you. Wink. The more friends, the merrier, no problem at all. I'm afraid I've reached my snarky friend quota, actually. Yeah, Theo's like, do it. Do it, precious. Take the top option. Do it. Oh no, both Theo and Budget are voting for one. Do I have to? Fine. Fine. Top option it is.
Oh, really? Well, handle away. You know, you're starting to remind me of Taylor. And I don't mean that as an insult. This time. Probably.
Oh, we got him flustered. Awesome. He strikes a thinking pose for a few moments before speaking again.
Right, back on track.
Threw you off.
I remember telling you that I basically grew up in a library. Well, I meant that literally. The librarian let me stay there when I needed it, so when things got rough at home, I'd just go get lost in a good book.
Pretty sure I just got peer pressured, but you know what, that's fine. Do it for the audience.
But things at home kind of got worse as time went on, so before I knew it, the library became my entire life. They sheltered me while I learned to read and write. I can definitely look back and say it was worth it, but at the time, it definitely seemed like the worst thing ever. I wrote a bunch of woe is me stories
Oh,
to
no.
attempt self-pity.
Dante had an emo phase.
Eventually, some of them found their way into anthologies. That was the first step. People kept saying how good my stuff was. I got an agent to help me with all the publishing offers that came my way. But that's the thing. I've been working ever since. Haven't had much time to take care of Dante things. But after this next book, my whole life is wide open.
Why do you say that? Is it because, like, you've got a contract to complete this book? And then it's kind of like self-employed after that? Growing up in a library sounds like it could be pretty awesome. I wish it could have happened for him without the issues back at home.
Bet you didn't expect me to be a runaway, huh? A lot of people don't. They act surprised or shower me in sympathy, but I don't need any of that. I think I'm doing really well for myself.
I mean, yeah, you're a successful author. Not many people can claim that.
Do you think that too, Delta? I mean, I feel like I've accomplished quite a bit, maybe enough for my family to let bygones be bygones.
All right, which one are we doing? You're going to say 2, aren't you? You're going to say 2. I'm sure you're going to say 2. I'm sure they're counting down the days until you call. You've accomplished a lot. It's kind of infatuating. Or I'm sure they'd be happy to reconnect with you. How flirty do we want to be? Super flirty? A little bit flirty? Yeah, you guys are thirsty. That's what you are. There is thirst coming from the chat. Okay, number 2 it is. You've accomplished a lot. It's kind of infatuating.
Oh, come on. You're starting to sound like my inbox. But nice to know that you're at least a little taken with me. We'll have to talk about that more sometime. It's totes mutual.
See, that's a much more casual way to put that into conversation.
Of course, I need to finish this book before I do anything major. Unless any impatience gets the better of me, which it will. Either way, I just hope you'll have my back.
Yeah, I got your back. I nod and tell him he's right. I'd always have his back, especially now that he's opening up to me. It's weird. I learned more about him in one sitting than I ever have before. A runaway novelist who grew up in a library, a fractured relationship with his family, and a renowned bibliography. I really need to do something with my life. Damn straight! Delta, you're the most boring character in this entire thing. Hey, Sander, how's it going? Yes, you did miss some fun stuff. We're flirting with Dante now. Chat has voted on who we're going to pursue as the love interest, and the vote came in pretty overwhelmingly for Dante. So, here we are now. And, oh, we're flirting. We're flirting hard. The Zero guys recognized by the system is now named Chiron. Yeah, absolutely. They've got a name, they've got a phone, they're going to be going out drinking with us. It's coming up to New Year's. It's going well. We're in part 2 of the story now, officially. Theo says we go for everyone. I'd rather pick one and push with it if that's cool, but yeah, it's my personal preference.
Well, I gotta say, thanks for the chat. I hope we can do this again, maybe on New Year's Eve. You have 4 midnights after all. If I don't get one, I'll be offended.
Sorry, let me read that again. I've got to say thanks for the chat. Hope we can do this again, maybe on New Year's Eve. Have 4 minutes. Oh, I see what you're saying. He smirks at me, and our time at the Triple R came to an end. He's right, though. Because of the quantum leap, I'll have 4 midnights. I see. And not only that, but I have 4 new friends, Isaac, Taylor, Dante, and Clace. Things were definitely going to be interesting on the 31st. Smooches for everyone. Smooches all round. Smooches for furry friends. Who we gonna pound? Oh dear. Okay, now this is something I don't know. Do we need to actually do Isaac's one to break it off with him and let him down? I don't know if that's a thing or if we're just going to accidentally end up pursuing both of them, but yeah, that's going to be interesting. Okay, I feel like we're going to have to go to Fragment 2 and carry on with the story a little bit more. Yeah, polyamory is allowed, but if we're pursuing Dante, I want to I don't know if there's a way to go back with Isaac and say, actually, no, we're going to break it off. Don't know. Alright, for now, let's go into the next main story fragment.
Experience pivotal fragment. Useful inconveniences.
Useful inconveniences. That sounds interesting. You say you think you probably ignore their heart-to-heart fragments, don't know how the mechanics here work. Not sure. Only one way to find out. We might go and have a look at Isaac ones later and see if we can just say things that he doesn't like. Maybe he'll break up with us. Just be like, yeah, no, technology's stupid. I don't like you anymore. Let's go. You're always the last to realize what you never wish to see. Sounds like you're imagining a Bogart from Harry Potter. Alright, we're back with the therapist. These sessions were quickly becoming a source of stress. The man who was supposed to guide me seems to walk a different path. I could never tell him what we did to Argus, what we did to his bosses. As I try to give him vague answers, I hope that he doesn't find me suspicious. Oh, you're definitely suspicious. His perception and ability to make me talk could easily incriminate all of us. My direct line to Argus has now become a liability rather than help.
Perhaps you should tell me more about this new friend of yours, Delta. Has he been a positive addition to the group? Are you scrutinizing him? Remember, you're not the only outsider anymore. You have a new perspective.
Now, the interesting part here is that the therapist doesn't know about the Zero joining the group, whose name I've briefly forgotten. He's pretty sure he's talking about Clace, because that's who we've told him is the newest addition to the group. That's true. I think back to one of our earlier sessions now. He gave me advice and said that my friends would put me under a microscope. Since Clace is the new blood now, the microscope kind of shifted to him. And now I'm looking through the lens. But it wasn't bad. I liked what I saw. Under the microscope might be a bit hyperbolic. But if this was how Isaac and the others judged me, then it was fine.
Go ahead, take your time. I'm just curious to learn about your social life.
Okay, couple of options here. Glad I moved the chat so that you guys can see this a bit better now. So, he's great, and it's cool to know someone of note. Or I'm actually kind of interested in him. I wish my time in the spotlight lasted a little longer. He makes me feel a little inadequate, you know. Things are good. More friends is always fun. That's a very non-answer. Personally, again, because we don't want to come across like we're romantically interested in Clace, I probably would just go number 1. Number 3 is kind of selfish. Number 4 is just a downer. I've got no reason to feel inadequate. Even though actually Delta kind of does because he's kind of useless. Whoa, we're not taking the flirty option for Clace. We're following through on Dante. We're not doing number 2. Yeah, I'm going 1 or 3. I'm going to go number 1 for this one.
I can imagine it might have its benefits. But remember that he's more than just his fame. A lot of people in his life probably don't, you know?
True.
Not that I know who he is. It's just an educated guess.
You're a fan.
Some of the patients that I counsel are people of note as well. They all share similar struggles. The lack of genuine connection.
I nod. That makes perfect sense. Just treat him like a person? I do that by default. The fact that other people don't is just kind of depressing. Get a smile from him before he starts scribbling more notes. That's never good when your therapist is like, interesting. Scribble, 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 scribble. Like, oh god, what did I just say? What did you interpret from that? What have I done? Every time he does that, I start to get more and more paranoid. Could he tell I was hiding something? What was he writing? It's just like, got big letters on there. Need more information. Find where Clace lives. Need him to sign something.
Moving on, I actually wanted to ask you something. Did you watch that report last week on Komorebi's anniversary?
I love that my only option is, didn't have much of a choice, I didn't want to lose points. Not just, yeah, I found it really interesting, or, yeah, it didn't really matter to me though, not having Komorebi.
Good to know that you care about your score. A lot of people just shut off their TV and take the hit. It's not a huge penalty, but it takes some time to recover.
There's no way that Isaac would have allowed that. I didn't even really watch it though, if I'm perfectly honest. I remember Argus stroking their ego and something about nostalgia. I'm curious why he brought this up though, so I sit and listen.
They actually skipped over something pretty important. Do you know how Komorebi got its name?
Yeah, the visions leak into our world like beams of light in a forest.
No, not the meaning of the word, Delta. I'm talking about how the world came up with it. How we all agreed that Komorebi was the right term.
Okay, tell me more. I actually don't know that story.
Odd of them to omit such a big detail, isn't it? Celebrate the history, but leave out some of the origins? It's not anything super interesting, but it's a story I like to share.
Why do you like to share it? I nod. I'm actually kind of curious why the word Komorebi was chosen. It's not something I stopped to question. To me, it was just the nature of things.
When the visions first began, nobody knew what to call them. Everyone had ideas, but nobody could make a decision on behalf of the world. It had to be the other way around. The world needed to make this decision.
Interesting.
Each country was allowed to take submissions from their citizens. Then the entire world would vote on which word or country would win. There was a huge summit where the votes were inspected and revealed.
Interesting take on things, because in general that's not how language works. Something, yeah, a phenomenon or something would appear and it would get a name in its local vernacular, in the local language, and that would then generally spread. But that's usually because whatever is being named exists in that location first. So that's an interesting thought experiment. What happens if a new thing that no one's ever seen before and we don't have a name for suddenly appeared worldwide? Each individual language would come up with their own name for it, but do we just accept that it has multiple names for the same thing? Or do we find and have one unified name for it? I think about examples in the past, we'd probably also be very accepting of it just having its own name in different languages. It's an interesting thought experiment. It was like a contest? Interesting.
Japan and the submission of Komorebi won by a landslide. It was likely because of its relation to nature and beauty. We thought a term like that would make things less scary.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Mitigating the fear that Komorebi created was very important. The contest helped people focus on a cause and unify once more. People argue that without it, society may have ended up collapsing.
That sounds really intense, but it also makes sense. Komorebi created chaos, and it's well documented how bad things were. Getting the entire world to band together for a friendly competition? Good idea.
We'll never know for sure, but it's interesting to think about. Anyway, I just think it's a nice story to share. But there's a little more. It leads into a lesson that I like to teach my patients.
Ah, so that's what he was doing. The story was actually just set up for some advice. He seems very wise though, so I listened with my curiosity piqued.
Well, imagine yourself staring at the sun. A pretty foolish idea, don't you think?
Yeah, most of us realize that that's a bad idea. Yeah, it's kind of a dumb thing to do. I nod.
Now put some trees between you and the sun. The beams shine through, becoming something new and beautiful. What could once hurt you now becomes something you can't look away from.
Still kind of bright and painful to look at, though.
You can only fully appreciate it because something got in the way. Next time something obstructs you, just stop and think about that. A lot of people see these things as bad, but they're not.
Huh. It's an interesting way of looking things, because you're talking about the concept of not seeing something as a blocker, but something that's an obstacle. And it is an interesting psychological thing. A lot of people view obstacles as barriers, something that are there to prevent you from doing something, and other people view obstacles as something to be overcome. And it's something which I learned a little bit about and used to kind of teach, is actually around the concept of mindset. There is an inherent difference in the way people approach those kinds of challenges. Some people see a challenge as just a way of them being tested, something that, you know, you've either got the skills to overcome or you don't. And other people view those challenges as an opportunity for growth, because they can like look at themselves and go, well, I might not have the capability to overcome that challenge now, but trying to overcome that challenge will help me improve, and then maybe I can. And that is it's an interesting difference in mindset. Sorry, rambling again.
Is it truly an inconvenience? Or is it the chance to discover something new?
Can't help but relate this to my current situation with Chiron. It feels like sheltering this zero is going to get in the way of my life, or at least the path that I expected my life to take when I arrived. I've been so quick to think, woe is me, and pity myself, but perhaps I should take his metaphor to heart and change my thinking. What originally got in my way might just make my life more beautiful in the end. Okay, that was a nice short little segment. Can appreciate that. Means we can get into the next one. I think we're going to have enough time to get through most, if not all, of these main segments in today's stream, so let's keep powering through.
Experience Pivotal Fragment. A brief reprieve.
Surrender is worse than defeat, as it comes with the loss of hope. We all sit around the kitchen table, much like we did when we were pre-gaming. Total name drops this session 7? Oh, in that, like, that segment 7? Because I say, like, in terms of this stream, there's been more than 7. This part of the house became reserved for our more special plans. Well, that could definitely be taken out of context. And starting a campaign in Rebels and Revels was certainly special. Are we doing a Dungeons and Dragons session? Is that what's happening here? But not only that, everyone also stocked up on those gummies. Hang on, what? What? Oh, I love this. So it would be role-playing under the influence. Pretty tall order. Playing D&D in a visual novel is actually a pretty common visual novel trope. You kind of hate it. I've not seen this before, so this is new to me. Spider Macho, take care, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. Amber, it's over to you to keep track of the counter now. Best of luck to you. These games usually had pretty complex systems to abide by, but with Taylor as our GM, I'm sure he'd be pretty lax. I feel like he'll make it fun, even if my character sheet looked like a spreadsheet. If there's one thing I knew, is that nobody likes working with spreadsheets. That's wrong. Some people love them. Oh, you're out as well, Amra. Oh dear. Okay. Alright, I need someone else in chat to take over the name drop counter. We're at 41 now. Any volunteers? Anyone happy? Because I'm not going to be able to keep count myself, so I'm relying on you guys. I created my character and named them after myself. Delta, a sword-wielding warrior, but that's all I knew. What? What do you mean, Amber? You can leave. Someone else hopefully will take over the counting. This world and my place in it, I had no clue. It's odd how that kind of mirrored how I felt in real life. A game set in a completely different world and I can still relate. That's probably a good sign though. I'd hate to play as someone I couldn't relate to.
Alright, well, I don't want to get started just yet. These things usually take a little while to kick in, you know. Maybe we should just chat and relax until I'm ready to go.
Oh? Nervous about being a GM?
Maybe a little, but it'll disappear. I usually end up locked to the couch when I have these things. If I start to doze off, I give you permission to write on my face.
Permission appreciated, and likely to be abused. Chiron, you got any special requests? I'll draw on your behalf.
Oh, I didn't realize Chiron was participating with this. This could be fun. We all turn our heads towards the tablet on the table. Ah, he's not actually with us. A slightly choppy video call with Chiron was already well in progress. It was too risky to have him over just yet, but he was happy to join remotely.
Pretty sure all our minds went to the same place. Let's keep it a secret. I want to hear him scream when he looks in the mirror.
Pretty sure he does that every morning anyway.
Nice, Dante. That was a good one.
Wow, rude. And I'm organizing this entire campaign for you. Figured you could show me a bit more respect.
We will. Until you pass out, that is. And if you feel bad, just remember that you did this to yourself.
Isaac waves a permanent marker in the air as if it were a threatening gesture. It's true, at least. Taylor is the one who came up with the wager. As I feel the gummies kick in, I just hope that I don't pass out either.
Anyway, Chiron, how are things going? Hopefully nobody's given you any trouble.
Oh, it's fine. Totally living a life of luxury. I could use some better food, though. The stuff on board is super stale.
Ooh, yeah, that's a little awkward.
Oh, that's no good. But definitely expected. It's actually part of why I chose that jet.
Wait, you chose the stale food on purpose? Heartless.
No, not the stale food. It was the rarely used jet. Any other one and you might have woken up in the air.
Yeah, that would be kind of awkward.
That sounds like it'd be fun, though.
It'd be a great way of getting caught, though.
Fair. I've just been craving some adventure, I guess.
This campaign should definitely scratch that itch.
I've never really played Rebels and Revels before, but I'm sure it will. And if you really need to get out, you can always go back to the Triple R.
I'd rather come to Isaac's place, honestly, especially after hearing about the quantum leap.
That's still a bit too dangerous. But I'm hoping to know more soon.
Yeah, it's hard with all those Argus agents walking the streets.
Wait,
It's just
what?
making tensions rise across the board.
I guess.
Not a help at all.
Yeah, I guess they're there to try and help counteract the rising threat of the rising unrest, I guess. But it's still surprising to hear that there's like Argus agents. I thought they were just a tech corporation.
I'm not surprised, to be honest. Armed Argus agents watching the protests. It's probably just an intimidation tactic.
So Argus are not only a tech corporation, but also either a private security force, or tied with the police force, or some kind of armed military. That's not a good combination.
That's a pretty bad way to de-escalate conflict, though. The threat of retaliation, and even further escalation?
It's worked in the past.
Really?
Yeah. If you're set up to fail, then there's no point in striking. But it's really confusing in this situation. It's all been peaceful.
That's why a lot of people don't trust Argus. A lot of moves they make are equally good and bad. But behind the shroud of mystery, most people focus on the bad. Why hide something if there's nothing to hide, right? I think Argus's silence is their greatest weakness. Things could be so much better than they are.
Oh, great. Hope you managed to fix your headphones. Is it like the connection issue, or I guess maybe it's battery operated or something? I hope you managed to find a fix for them, though.
Well, at least there's no agents around my plane. But I agree. Argus needs to step up and say something. All of this could be resolved with a single meeting.
It's absolutely fascinating what can be resolved if people actually talk to each other.
Oh yeah, I heard that Cypher is calling for the leader of Argus. They've never appeared in public before, so nobody knows who they are. But things are currently at a stalemate, so they might actually show up.
No one knows who is the CEO or the head of the biggest tech corporation in the world. That doesn't sound believable. That's in a way like saying, oh yeah, Microsoft, their products are used everywhere. No one knows who's the head of that corporation though. Can you imagine living in a world where no one knew who was in Bill Gates' position? It just does not make any sense. It's Argus who leads Argus. Maybe Argus is like all maintained and run by an AI. There's actually no one single person that's in charge of it.
I can confirm that one, actually. Argus is kind of a mystery. The farther you go up the chain of command, the more secretive things are. I'd love to see the leader appear and negotiate, but I doubt it'll happen.
Well, if Argus does nothing, then we win anyway. Hermes is going to get phones to all those zeros regardless.
Oh, okay, great. They just need a charge. Hopefully that's a nice, easy fix. I don't know if you can charge and use them at the same time. I know some headphones you can't do that with. That's part of why I love my headphones. They actually have a battery that's just behind the compartment here. You can actually... Oh, let me show you. You can take it off, and there's a little battery just there. And the actual thing that it connects to acts as a battery charger. So you can basically just hot swap the batteries. Essentially never run out of power. Love this headset. It's fantastic.
That's what Hermes said, at least. Nobody knows the true goals of either side here. But giving Argus time to act might end up backfiring.
Okay.
How so?
Well, it's hard to get food in the city if you're a zero.
Nigh impossible unless you're waiting on people to give out donations, but even then they're incentivized not to give anything to the zeros.
Right, the starvation thing.
That, and each second gives Argus more time to plan. If they had agents good at acting, they could even infiltrate the zeros.
Or Cypher, for that matter. They could sneak in and tear it apart from the inside. People say Argus is just doing nothing, but I doubt it.
They're plotting something.
It's more like we can't see what they're doing. But in their minds, I'm sure they've already planned it all. Whatever happens in the next week or two is likely by their design.
So if they let Cypher get phones to the zeros?
It'd be a valid tactic. Let them break the law and then crack down.
Good point.
But I think we'll be seeing a move from Argus first.
What makes you so certain?
Well, if they don't do anything, zeros could start dying. I can already see some of them on the streets looking famished.
Oh.
Hermes extended an olive branch, sure. Argus could end this immediately by embracing the zeros. But the longer they don't, the worse everyone's condition is getting.
But in a way, Argus also don't really care because they've conditioned society to view zeros as subhuman almost. They're not part of society, so it doesn't really matter if they die.
I can't imagine what it's like to be Hermes right now. But if they're anything like me, they know where they messed up. If Argus doesn't comply, they really could get phones to all the zeros. So this whole you do it or I will thing actually makes sense. I just wish that Cypher would strike while the iron is hot. Waiting on Argus to act is just endangering lives.
I have to agree with that. What a complex situation. It seems like the zeros would get phones regardless though, and those phones would either come from Cypher or Argus. However, the longer both sides wait to act, the more lives are at stake. Not every zero had a friend like Isaac to get them into the system. If casualties become a factor, then my heart would shatter. However, Argus is certainly losing some credibility. I even saw in a news poll that almost everybody wants to help the zeros. The longer Argus takes, the more public opinion shifts to support Cypher. And if a zero died on the streets of starvation, well, I imagine that shift would turn into more of a landslide. But maybe that's part of Cypher's game, eroding Argus's public image. Whoever this Hermes was, they're definitely a genius. Holding the people that govern the world in a stalemate? I just wish that the pieces on the board weren't actual lives.
Any chance we could get things moving? I know the world is depressing, so that's why I wanted to do this. The slumber party and this new campaign, it's more like an escape.
For once, I have to agree with Taylor. We're here to have fun. Why are we bemoaning the fate of the end of the world? We'll exchange glances and nod. Moving along. This slumber party was supposed to be fun, not scary. Try as we might, I don't think we could affect what was happening outside. And so we stay inside in an attempt to drown out the external drama. But as we're about to start our campaign, I can't help but stare at the table. A board is placed down with figurines in various spots ready to move, and Taylor, behind a cardboard partition, looks down at it. One person, completely in charge, despite the will of the characters. One person guiding things down a specific path no matter what happens. In that moment, it was impossible to deny the parallels. I can only hope that Taylor is a merciful GM. And perhaps that Argus is a merciful corporation. You know, they could have left it on that previous line and just let, you know, us draw those lines and make that connection. Like, have a little bit of faith in your players to be able to join those narrative conventions together. That's, okay, sure, a little on the nose, but whatever. They're like, oh, what if the players didn't quite understand that reference? We'd better call it out so it's 100% clear for them. Like, have some faith in your players. All right, let's keep powering up.
Experience pivotal fragment. Crossing the threshold.
Hang on. Can we... Even the AI narrator there put more emphasis into the name of that one. Listen again.
Experience pivotal fragment. Crossing the threshold.
Experience pivotal fragment. Crossing the threshold. Like, it literally just could have been experience pivotal fragment. Crossing the threshold. But no. Even the VO is like, alright, this one's more serious. Let's see what we've got. Why limit yourself to one instrument when you can conduct an orchestra? How relevant for grading. It's someone left what I think is a bassoon on the couch, so your leg is currently on it. Can you describe what it looks like? Because a bassoon is a fairly recognizable instrument. If you put a picture in the Discord, I'll tell you what instrument it is. I used to play in orchestras, so I'm fairly good with instrument identification. I enter the Triple R, and I'm immediately waved over by my friends. Our usual table, at least when we're planning for group outings. Except this time, something is new. Chiron's sitting with them. That's a really good sign. He got in without any issues. Long, skinny case. Yeah, pop a picture in the Discord. Let me know when it's there. I'll take a look and let you know what instrument it is. Might need to tag me in it. I'm not sure if you're going to put it into music or into pics. One of the two. I'll keep an eye out. Don't see anything yet. Come on, Gray. Long skinny case, both your mum and brother play, presumably not at the same time though. Long skinny case, it could be a didgeridoo. Who knows? Alright, it's a really good sign he got in without any issues. Suddenly, a wave of relief washes over me, like a tidal wave. Weird how successfully doing the wrong thing could put me at ease. But I guess that's how things are when the lines are so blurred. Alright, fine, you'll have to send through the picture later, great. I'll keep an eye out for it. We're all wondering this now. Like, you've raised a mystery. What is this instrument? I need an answer. There shouldn't be any issue with Chiron living in the city like this. With the protests approaching their climax, I hoped for equality.
Hey, Delta! We were just about to get started. Arriving fashionably late as always.
Yeah, sorry, I'm lazy.
Yeah, I'd definitely say fashionable. Sick outfit, Delta. You're killing it.
Oh, thank you. You're gonna make me blush. I thank him and smile. I do always try and look my best. It was a special occasion too, after all.
I'm not so up to date on fashion and stuff, but I do think you look nice, if that means anything.
Ooh, okay. I think you look great. I'm kind of jealous. Don't be hard on yourself. That outfit is pretty hot. Yeah, you're definitely not up to date. Well, thanks, Chiron. You look good too. We're not starting anything with Chiron, so we don't need a flirt here. And also, I just hate that second line. Like, don't be too hard on yourself. I was like, that outfit's pretty great. Your outfit's awesome. But I wouldn't go, that outfit's pretty hot. Yeah, it doesn't feel right. So I was gonna say, thanks, Chiron, you look good too. I'm gonna play it safe here.
Always try to look my best, yeah, but these are just hand-me-downs from the colony. There isn't much time for fashion back home.
Yeah, no, understandable. You probably don't have access to a lot of stuff.
Maybe we should take you clothes shopping. You know, something to make you fit in a bit more. No offense, but you don't exactly blend in like that.
It's a fashion statement.
Clothes shopping with Dante? Have you seen the guy's outfit?
His clothes are fine. Better than yours. Look over at Isaac and he simply smirks.
Glad to see you all getting along so well. I'm guessing you're less worried now that we're here?
Something like that, yeah. Until he walked through that door. It was all theory.
A game
Not
theory!
that I can trust you, but seeing it certainly helps.
Seeing is believing, yeah?
Damn, you've got a collection of instruments there, Gray. Couple of ukuleles, on a piano bench, some recorders, homemade banjo, French horn. You know, just casual French horn ownership. I bet a lot of people wouldn't even know what a French horn looks like, let alone what it sounds like.
Yeah.
What, do you play any of those instruments, Gray? Gonna get your laptop, that's where you have to go. Okay, fair enough. Curious to know how many or if any of those instruments you actually play yourself.
So, I wanted to talk about a couple of things while we were here. I have an interview with Argus on Friday before the bar.
We know.
I'm telling Chiron. He's not in the group chat, remember?
Yeah, come on. Get with the picture, Taylor.
Hey, can I join that, by the way?
Let's see how things go at the Wayfarer first. I'm a bit more worried when it comes to our chat room. They could monitor that, but not our real-life conversations.
You know, somehow I don't believe that. If they've got technology at the place where like they're scanning you upon like entering a place or when you're taking payment to verify that you are part of the system, they're monitoring chat groups, but they also don't have, you know, cameras or microphones that are also listening into conversations. I feel like once you've hit a certain level of surveillance, everything becomes up for grabs, you know?
Argus better not be monitoring our group chat.
Yeah, don't want them to see your poor taste in memes.
You've got an oboe as well and an electric guitar. Jeez. There's literally thousands of dollars of instruments you've just got hanging around, Gray. That's amazing. I'm a little jealous.
They're pretty good, actually. Always manage to make me laugh.
Hope things go well then. I want to see all the fun you have.
It's mostly just a place for them to bicker. But entertainment is entertainment after all.
Sounds like our Discord, to be honest.
Anyway, you were saying about this interview?
Right. Well, it's at their HQ. They kinda want me to move up the corporate ladder.
Ooh,
When I'm
promotion
there,
time.
I'll have access to some of their computers. I figured I'd take a deeper look into what's going on. You know, if there's any heat or suspicion on our group. At work, I can look pretty high up, but my sight is limited.
You have to be careful though. Pretty sure the stuff that you're looking at will be logged and monitored, and if they see that the first thing you do upon getting a promotion that gives you ability to view this kind of stuff is you look into your own group, that's kind of suspicious.
Well, we're sitting here right now. I figured if we failed, Argus would be here already. Do you really need to risk snooping around like that?
Not really, but I was doing it for everyone else. I'm certain that we're safe, but they were all paranoid.
Well, paranoia is the fear of something irrational. With everything going on, I think it's
not
fair to be
paranoia.
scared. Coming here helped, but I wouldn't mind a bit more safety.
That's why I figured I'd do it during my interview. Then I can let you all know before we hit up the Wayfarer. If it's not looking good, then we can stop this altogether.
I have a question, Isaac.
Sure, what's up?
Is all of this related to, you know...
Huh?
That thing we talked about a few years ago? Back when I made you that promise?
What promise? Gray, you've played French horn, alto saxophone, oboe, guitar, electric guitar, ukulele, piano, and lap harp. That is impressive. Being able to switch between brass and woodwind, but also strings and keys, is quite talented. Kudos to you. That just takes quite a bit of skill. Isaac looks surprised, like he completely forgot.
Oh, yeah. It's exactly like that.
It's 'cause he did completely
Honestly,
forget.
I completely forgot.
It's not almost like he completely forgot. He did completely forget.
Anyone want to fill me in here?
Back when we first became friends, we were really close. Isaac told me that one day he'd ask me for a promise, and even if my gut said no, I had to play along.
That's kind of sketchy. He could get you to do anything he wants.
He does that all the time anyway, but he has yet to cash in on the promise.
Interesting.
Until now?
Until now.
I'm extremely confused. Emphasis on extremely. But if my best friend asked for a promise, I'd probably help them. Not a fan of using them as currency and cashing in on them, though.
You know, that's not so different from the colonies. We can give and take a lot more than money. I've traded a few promises in my day.
Really? That sounds stressful.
No, it's just a different form of trust.
Not really. It's just something we're all used to, especially when we have some special information. We're so tight-knit, a lot of our visions intertwine.
Trading information based on visions for favors. That's one way to drop your score as fast as possible.
But they don't care about score, so you have to kind of question why that behavior is being prevented.
Well, we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff out there. The things you all fear are just second nature to us. But I'm gonna guess this has to do with Isaac's vision.
We all look at Isaac.
Yes, but I'm not going to get into it any more than that. Dante promised, but I still need to win the rest of you over.
Okay, you're doing something very suspicious, mate.
Well, I'd still appreciate you checking in at Argus HQ. Just because I promised doesn't mean I can't be scared.
Fair.
A few pieces start to connect in my mind, so I vocalize them. At the nightclub, Dante revealed that Isaac's vision was positive. Not only that, but it's tied to a promise that Dante made. The promise to play along and push through this whole ordeal. That must mean Isaac's vision is related to all of this. The end result must be positive for all of us.
I'm not gonna comment on that. The vault is totally sealed.
Yeah, but all that lock takes is a few shots of vodka. Either way, you should have opened up with that, Isaac. If you know it ends well, why make us worry?
Because it might not actually end well.
Huh?
I notice Clace hasn't said much at all. He seems pretty passive and shy. He has his diary with him again, though. He slowly flips through the pages like he's only half there.
Why wouldn't it end well?
You all seem so confident that you've beaten the system, but in my vision, I'm a lot older and still stuck in a colony.
Interesting. What happens if people have conflicting visions?
What?
So I figure it's only a matter of time until I get caught. And that means you'll probably all go down too.
Don't you think you could have told us this sooner?
Well, it's not like it came up until now. I've only been around you like 3 times.
And there goes the promise.
Wait, hold on. There's no reason to give up. Both visions can play along with each other.
But I haven't even told you mine.
Well, let's say this all works out. Equality for zeros, and none of us get in trouble. Wouldn't we all be free to leave and enter the city? Maybe you're just visiting friends who stayed behind.
That's a pretty big maybe.
But it's better than the alternative. So let's not write anything off just yet. We should trust Isaac and let him investigate.
But we might
Okay.
not know for years.
No, that's impossible. Look at the protests. I think things will be decided real soon, especially with the ultimatum from Hermes.
Yeah, that's gonna drive things forward pretty quickly.
Right? Starve or save. Kinda sick of feeling like my friends are pawns. It's not like any of us asked to be part of this game.
It's going pretty good, though, all things considered. And Cypher's phones weren't as secure as the one I made. If everyone got Cypher's version, they'd already be caught. But if Argus steps in to offer them, then it's a win-win. We just have to hope that it happens soon.
True. Maybe it's for the best that Cypher's plan was put to a stop. Gives them time to regroup and figure out what they did wrong. Either way, I think this will all be decided within a week or two.
Yeah, the anime convention isn't too far away.
Those two lines back to back. Yes, this will all be decided in a week or two. Oh yeah, the anime convention's not too far away. What?
Why
Whiplash.
choose an anime convention anyway?
Well, I doubt they chose it because of that. The schedule's probably just aligned.
I'm not even sure that Hermes said it would be during the convention. It was a pretty vague timeline they offered, just something about the new year.
A lot of people will be downtown, though. Blending into the crowd might be a part of their plan.
I guess we just have to wait and see. But I definitely think we're gonna come out on top. Whether from Argus or from Cypher, those zeros are gonna get phones.
Oh, there we go. Gray sent an image. Let's have a look at what it is. Gray, I was kind of hoping for a picture of the inside of the case. Seeing the outside of the case, unfortunately, does not help me too much. Could be a bassoon, but looking at the scale, I'm not sure that it is big enough for that. Bassoons are quite large instruments. It's roughly the right size, but potentially slightly too small. So, inside of the case, please. That will help things greatly. Alright, moving on. Yeah, I guess waiting is all we can do. You don't know how to open it. Okay, fair enough. It doesn't have like just little latches on the side that flick open or anything like that. Most cases, I mean, I'm sure I don't need to explain to the musician who has more instruments than me how to open a case. So I'm sure if it is something complex, then there's a reason you don't feel comfortable opening it. So apologies. I shouldn't be making assumptions like that. Well, that's a shame. If you do ever see it open, send me a picture. I'd be curious to have a look at what's actually on the inside. Zeros protesting in the town square, actively starving, a mysterious corporation not stepping in to help out, and a rebel organization threatening to help out for them. Argus doesn't have to negotiate with the Zeros. It goes against their ethos. If Cypher takes their time with this ultimatum, then Zeros will just start dying in our streets. I certainly picked the best time to start my new life. Ah, that's all to that one. Short and sweet. Alright, we've got 2 more to get through.
Experience Pivotal Fragment. Rebels and Revels, Part 1.
Ah, we're going back to our game. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. The actions of one person can ripple and cascade. Ah, look at this setting. This is adorable. Look at it. Nice piece of art. It's nice to have a new backdrop for a change as well. We've been cycling through the same ones for a little while, so it's nice to see something a bit different. I sit in my chair, the gummies slowly kicking in. There's a character sheet in front of me and a map on the table. It looks like some sort of fantasy village settled in a forest. Everything is a bit foggy right now, but I'm super content and relaxed. Taylor, behind some sort of cardboard barrier, starts to speak. I guess it's his time to shine. His first game is a GM.
Well, well, look where we are. The sheltered forest village of
New
Valinor.
music as well.
The war has ended, and the monarch returns home.
Oh, this is a background from a previous visual novel. Ah, I assume from the same dev, same company. Interesting. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Theo. Everyone's getting a little high. Everyone looks at me and I nod. I didn't know I'd be the main character in this game, to be honest, but it kind of feels nice, so I accept the role without any hesitation.
You're here to visit your friend, the Elder of Valinor. Disguised as monarch business, you really just want to see a friend. The crown weighs heavy upon you, and your bonds ease this burden.
It's a violin. All of that build up, Gray, and it's just a violin in that case. That's a big case for a violin. Huh. Well, there we go. Not a bassoon. Bassoons are huge instruments because, like, if you're sitting down to play a bassoon, I think from memory the bassoon goes like up above head height, and then the mouthpiece curls back down. So, like, yeah, bassoons are big instruments, but I think they can be disassembled into a couple of smaller parts, and they have like a little stand on the bottom of them as well. Luke, you haven't played it, but you recognize the image from the game cover and edge. Ah, interesting. But yeah, I'm assuming it's from the same team, right? They haven't taken this from something else. Nah, I'm sure they wouldn't. Well, given the crap that I've played in my series, I can never make that assumption.
Elder?
Everyone looks at Clace. He seems a little shocked.
Me?
Hey, Elder Clace. Elder? He's only 21.
Yes, you. The monarch appointed you as elder because of your values. You wish to see Valenorth open up and unite with other nations.
I'm seeing some parallels in the story here. Don't know about you guys.
Unity? That sounds good to me. Honestly, the world could use more of that.
Spoken like a true elder, but also a little off topic. The monarch's bodyguard steps forward, aiming to get back on track.
Taylor taps the tablet, getting Chiron's attention. I didn't know that Taylor made up backstories for our characters. Signing up as just a sword user, I figured my history would be a clean slate. But a monarch? With a bodyguard? I could get used to this.
Hey, let's get this back on track, shall we? The war may be over, but that doesn't mean it's playtime.
Well, hi. I see you still have an aversion to clothing, even in a fantasy environment.
As if to urge on small talk, another friend steps forward. Once a swindler, it seemed like he still craved gossip.
Everyone looks over at Isaac, who simply shrugs.
A swindler? Come on, that's kind of mean. I thought you saw me as more than that.
In character, please.
There's always one person. Isaac quickly realizes there's no way to address this in character. With a simple shrug, he continues on from Taylor's earlier prompt.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with some small talk, Chiron. A lot of people spill their greatest secrets in casual conversation.
What secrets could he possibly be keeping from us? Insubordination isn't exactly his style.
Yeah, I'm more interested in whatever the opposite of that is.
You mean obedience? I like that in a guy.
No comment. He's trying to flirt, even as the GM.
Did anybody hear something?
Other than us, I can't say I have.
We all just have this shared narration voice in our head.
Maybe it was a whisper from the spirits.
We're all using Mind Link.
A spiritual and sheltered forest village? Isn't that a little derivative?
You're one to talk.
What does that mean?
Never mind.
I guess we'll find out soon.
Either way, the spirits don't work like that in this world. In fact, the end of the war marked the end of the spirit realm. Alestia was free to forge its own path, with no external influence.
No external influence? Funny for a GM to say.
Isaac, careful with the fourth wall breaks there.
In character, please.
Oh, how I hate those gods that look down upon us, cursing my existence to that of a lowly swindler.
Okay, I like Isaac's character here. He's doing good.
For the record, I think being a swindler is pretty awesome.
Of course you'd say that, because you know me on the straight and narrow.
Totally agree. I'm just some dumb mercenary. I fight henchmen, while you topple nations.
Can't topple nations without fighting the henchmen, though.
Oh, so you do think I'm awesome.
Yeah, and you totally look the part.
He sounds it, too.
Pretty good reference, Taylor. I wonder if anyone will get it.
Afraid I missed that
It's not
one.
like there's anyone watching us.
Oh, of course. So, why are we here again anyway? Didn't we have some monarch business to attend to?
Everyone exchanges glances, then stares right at Taylor.
Oh, of course, the official business. What was that again?
Are you serious?
I said, what was that again?
Taylor nudges his head towards Dante, as if this were a cue. Dante holds up a piece of paper, a mock scroll.
And at that exact moment, the monarch's advisor bursts into the room, holding a scroll and struggling to catch his breath. It seems urgent.
I am not acting like I'm out of breath.
Nice outfit. Love the ears poking through the hood. That's always one thing that I've, like, in fantasy games, if you can play as any anthropomorphic creature that has, like canine or feline ears, they always either have like the hood is shaped to accommodate for them, or they just poke straight through. And if they poke straight through, you have to wonder, what is the purpose of the hood? The hood is meant to be there to keep the sun or the rain off. And funnily enough, having holes in it kind of ruins the purpose, but whatever, suspension of disbelief. Leonhard, it's the same voice actor playing the character Isaac's dressed as in the other game. Huh. Okay, so they've shared voice actors across them. Interesting.
Immersion killer. Just go ahead and read the scroll. We need to get this show on the road.
Right. Sorry to disturb your small talk, Monarch, but I have a matter that might need your attention.
I'm in love with you.
Might?
No, it definitely needs your attention, and I was talking to the Monarch, not you.
When you're in my village, you talk to me. Let's not start disrespecting my authority here.
Everyone looks at each other, shocked that Clace put his foot down. I guess he was getting into the role. That made things even better. Okay, good to know. Clace likes roleplay.
Oh, of course. Sorry, Elder.
Thank you, Dante. But now you have to prove that apology. A sorry means nothing if you keep slipping up.
Oh, he's doubling down.
He's right, you know. Should I get that in writing and make you sign it? Binding people to their word is kind of my thing. That's why I live my life by one rule. Never count on somebody who's unreliable. It's impossible to strike on the promise of a maybe.
All right, I get it. Well, if you don't find me reliable, then have this. It's a letter from the Thorns, back in Mazio.
It's actually pronounced Mazeo.
I love that. Like, oh, we're going to create a fantasy place with a made-up name. And yeah, here you go. Go pronounce it. It's always going to get... Someone's going to get it wrong.
Really? That's not what I've heard.
Well, I guess everyone says it differently. Anyway, feel free to let them know what's happening.
Of course. Sorry about that, everybody. The voice from above seems to keep cutting me off.
He's hearing the gods.
Been happening more and more lately. But go ahead and lay it on us, Dante. Can't possibly be worse than the war.
Maybe not, but it could easily start another. The war definitely left a big power vacuum. We have to face that fact. Unfortunately, a power vacuum in Mazeo is a lot worse than anywhere else.
I am so grateful that he did that with the voice acting. That's a nice little touch of like, Mazeo. Just rub it in.
You said the Thorns, right?
Yeah, I figured you'd be familiar with them. They're using the confusion and chaos to make a move. It's pretty clear. They want to undermine our newfound leadership.
And let me guess, their main weapon is blackmail.
Of course. After you stopped swindling, they took charge. Or maybe they even started during the war, when you were busy. But the townspeople are in their hands. Not willingly, of course.
Welcome, Ice. Lovely to have you here. Yeah, we're into part 2 now of the main story. You've not missed too much. Basically, the Zero from last time, we've managed to kind of get them a little bit more integrated into our friendship group. And yeah, one of the main plot points for this part is, you know, they're talking more about the uprising, the protests, and kind of what's happening on that front. And then in our downtime, we're playing, yeah, basically a D&D session. After we've taken some gummies. The good type of gummies.
We should take care of this as soon as possible. A hostile Mazeo isn't exactly my idea of a good neighbor.
Not quite sure where this fits into the overall narrative yet, but it seems like elements of the plot are meant to be a, what's it for, an analogy or a direct reference to the events that are happening in the actual world outside of the game.
But how can we fight back?
There's our new guy.
Contrary to popular belief, paper does beat paper. We dig up dirt on them and ruin their credibility. Then the blackmail they have means nothing.
I don't think that's a good idea. We have to prove our leadership to those still on the fence. Subterfuge and shady stuff will only make us seem dubious.
Yeah, D&D on weed, basically. Oh, you missed your D&D session, Gray. Oh, it's a shame. I only just started getting into D&D. I've had 2 sessions so far. It's been interesting because I'm jumping into a session that's already ongoing. So I've started my D&D campaign at level 8, which always makes things interesting. But it was because I knew someone who was already in the group, and I got invited to come along and join in because they needed an extra character. So is that red-dyed wolf who's voicing this character the same as the dude who voiced the half-elf in Dungeon Meshi? I'm sure Leonard might have the answer to that one.
I agree. Our goal was to lead the world into a better age. We can't resort to the same tactics our enemies did, or even the ones we used in order to win the war. Remember? We all promised. That kind of stuff would stop after we won. We're leading now, so we have to do it right.
Fine. Old habits die hard, I guess. It'll just be hard to win a battle where our enemy fights dirty. Remember, we were a little dirty during the war. It's how we won.
I think all of you are a little dirty at the best of times.
But this is just some gang of information brokers. They'll live up to their name, nothing more than thorns in our sides. They can't hold a candle to the triumvirate, right? The worst is over.
And if it isn't, then you'll always have my sword arm. In fact, I expect an ambush or two on our way back home. We should head to Museo while it's still bright outside.
I agree. I made good time on the run over, too. If we leave now, we'll make it before it gets too dark. And that's just when the thorns are most likely to strike.
And with that, our merry gang is reunited once more. Fresh off the heels of one war, it seems they aimed to prevent another. They head out hoping to win this battle the right way and prove their mettle. Because even though the previous tyrannical leaders were dethroned, the people of Alestia hadn't fully embraced their new leaders. If things went awry, the new monarchy could very well be usurped.
Okay, sure.
After a long and arduous
more.
journey, the group returns to Museo. A meeting is immediately called, with everyone making their way to the war room. Feeling no need to change things up, the new monarchy still used the old rebel HQ.
Hey, cool, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Ken, you don't, used to be in a D&D group, your DM turned out to be kind of a prick. That is always a shame. Sorry to hear that, mate. Because the DM's kind of integral to everything. When the DM's a jerk, you're kind of screwed. If it's just a player, like, you know, you can kick a player out and still carry on, but kind of tough to kick the DM out. Gotta find a new group. Yeah, Acor, they are now playing D&D on weed. So this is going to be interesting. I hope. We'll see. I don't know if they're actually going to, if that was just like a talking point or if they're actually going to work it into the story at all. I guess we'll see what happens. But also, Maker, I'm glad you weren't here earlier because otherwise you would have a couple of nice clips on hand. You have to go back and watch the VOD. You'll find it.
So, do we want to go over all of this again?
Yeah. It looks like the Thorns want to run things around here. Apparently, they've dug up dirt on all of us. A lot. If they spread it, the people could fear us.
I'm guessing this background is also from their previous game then? Interesting that they've had that level of crossover between them.
Giving them a legitimate claim to leadership.
There's no way the people would side with the Thorns. Leaking secrets speaks more about them than us. It's a pitiful, destructive way to seize power.
Don't forget what my job used to be, Clace.
Oh, right, sorry. But you did that stuff out of necessity. It seems like they're just doing it for fun.
Well, that's what it looks like from your position. Seems like the tables have turned, actually. We dug up dirt on the Triumvirate and used it to take them down. I suppose it's not out of the question that someone would do the same to us. But on the other hand, what we did actually saved countless worlds. The Thorns just want to take advantage of something that could profit them. We acted in the name of the greater good, and it seems like they act for their coin purse.
Well, I think this one rests with Isaac. How could we fight back against this? It is your area of expertise, after all.
Well, we have to put the people first. Anything aggressive or manipulative is a no-go. The way we react now will decide how they see us.
Sounds like the Argus Corporation.
Is aggression really a bad option? The Thorns could have dirt on every citizen in Alestia. If we take them out and seize their base, it'd keep everyone safe.
I think it's just killing that we need to avoid. We can attack them and take them in, but no vigilante stuff. Pure justice.
Yeah, they're definitely doing an analogy here between the Argus Corporation and the Zeros.
It would work. That is, if they truly are a threat. We can't just take them down to save our own hide. Isaac, you know more about this than anyone else. Is the information they have dangerous? Forget about whatever dirt they have on us. I'm talking about how they could harm our people.
Oh yeah, and Aiko, the other thing you missed is we decided, with a vote, yay democracy, that we're going to pursue Dante as the love interest, because why not?
Yeah, information brokering is a shady business. They probably have secrets that could topple nations, and a lot more that could tear apart the lives of innocents. But they would argue that revealing the truth is justice. I even told myself that when we fought against the Triumvirate. A means to an end. Everything is always a means to an end.
I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of the music in this section. It is very generic fantasy. It's not bad, it's just not particularly great. It's a bit all over the place. Jumping from instrument to instrument, there's no clear melody in it. It's a bit just kind of eh.
Hey, I have an idea.
Yeah?
Remember how
generic
you
fantasy.
dig in mailboxes at the taverns? You know, to find out secrets you could sell?
That's truly awful.
Not proud of it, but yeah.
Well, that's not all you did, right? I imagine you bought information from people too. What if we posed as civilians looking to sell some info?
And catch them in the act?
Entrapment? Isn't that immoral?
Not necessarily entrapment, but a way to get into their base for recon. That way we could see what they're up to in every regard.
And crack down if we see anything worrying.
Well, this certainly seems morally gray, but I don't see anything that would reflect poorly on us. We'll only take them in if we see the potential of harming our people.
And if we don't?
Well, I know that we did a lot to take down the Triumvirate. We swindled nations and murdered our enemies to start the list. If the Thorns bring that to light, we'll have to accept the repercussions.
Is there really no other way?
Well, it really isn't right to try and cover up our actions. Especially if it means hiding the truth of things from our people. That's exactly what the Triumvirate did to us when it came to the spirits. They hid a truth that they knew would jeopardize their leadership. If we approach this from the same angle, then we're no better. We have to act in Alestia's best interest, not our own.
We're getting so much lore here, but I'm also giving you, I'm like, I kind of just want to get back to what's happening in the real world. I don't know. It feels weird that we're kicking up a new narrative at this point in time.
True.
It's what we've always done.
So, that's the plan then? Infiltrate their base and gather data?
Yeah. And we only take action if we believe our people are in danger. With what Isaac said, though, I'm almost certain that they are. We just need to prove it before cracking down on them.
Is this acceptable, Monarch?
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Hunter Els. It's why what? Sorry, you said, yeah, this is why the VA is having this trope sucks. Yeah, the VNs, not the VAs, yeah. The voice actors are doing a great job here, keeping engaging interesting, but as a visual novel thing, it's like, come on, I'm interested in one plot, don't drop another one on me. For a moment, I forgot I was taking part in this game, but in retrospect, it really did make me feel like I was the leader. Everyone talking about what to do before presenting me with the best option. But it really was the best option. We can't just attack and kill those who threaten our rule, but if the actions of the Thorns threaten our people, well, that's different. I authorized the operation. We didn't infiltrate their base and discern the full extent of their actions. I know Isaac says they're obviously a threat, but we need some evidence. We'd have to do this the right way in order to win the favor of our people. It's not an easy transition, waking up to the new rulers of the world, or after all. But we'd show them, as we continued, that their lives were in our capable hands. Wonderful. Yeah, they're absolutely professional VAs, some of them more well-known than others. Aiko, your father fixed your headset with some tape. The power of gaffer tape. There's nothing it can't fix. Alright, we are going to do one more session, and then we're probably going to end the stream there, so that next time we can dive into the content between Act 2 and Act 3. I think that'll put us in a pretty good position.
Experience Pivotal Fragment. Calm before the crime.
Ooh, I like where this is going. Calm before the crime. We're getting to commit some crime. Letting people walk all over you simply leaves footprints for others to follow. Ponder that for a moment. Oh, we've got the sexy sax. I slowly make my way toward the Wayfarer, passing the town square. there's a large gathering of zeros, simply standing there. Some carry signs. The protest was in full swing and their cause surely had some numbers behind it. If that's how many people run a colony, then those things must be huge. That's what she said. Without realizing it, I make eye contact with a family of zeros. I shake my head, slightly embarrassed at the unintentional staring, but I couldn't help myself. My eyes were drawn to their striking features. I could see the outline of their body, the shape, the curves. It was enticing. They smile at me, and I choose to smile back. At least they weren't weirded out by what I just did. They hand their child an apple. After taking it, they start skipping around the town square. They're holding a doll in their other hand. It has a smile just as wide as them, but not nearly as wide as the parents who watch their child enjoy the city. I guess that they were fighting not only for themselves, but for the future of every zero. After skipping and jumping around the town square, the child stops and looks at me. I wave at them, and they wave back, before returning to their parents. As they embrace each other, I take this as my signal to leave. But I leave with a rising hope that they'll get what they want. And something else was rising too. I round the corner and see the Wayfarer almost immediately. As soon as I do, I see my friends standing around the entrance, just like Taylor said at the Triple R. Fashionably late, like always. Isaac is knelt down, tinkering with what appears to be a drone. The gang watches him work, and I can't help but feel concerned. Messing with a drone mere moments before we sneak in Chiron? This had to be related to everything going on. As soon as I reach my friends, I make a noise like I'm clearing my throat. This instantly gets their attention and hugs are exchanged.
Hey, Delta! I was just showing everybody what I've been up to.
Sorry,
Figured I could start without you since I kind of talked about it at the diner.
I'll go back to normal narration now, but that was just a little bit of fun. I had just something about this music wants me to narrate in a different style. Let me know if you want me to carry on with a narration like that, because it's kind of fun. It's kind of silly, but kind of fun. Alright. Couldn't start without us, kind of talking about at the diner. Yep. That's true, you definitely gave me a crash course at the diner. Or, in this case, crash may not be the best word to use. I know he can control them, and they run on his code.
I wish he didn't have to do it out in the open, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Isaac looks pretty suspicious right now.
Definitely no need to correct that.
But the security on these things is top-notch. If he was doing something wrong, then alarms would be blaring. I've seen people look over and they don't seem to care.
Yeah, good point. If the alarms aren't going off, then yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
Clay's has it right. See this little blue light? If I didn't work for Argus, it'd be red. And not only that, but it'd call for help. We'd be surrounded by more drones and they'd record us. That's only until the Argus agents arrive to arrest us, of course.
Makes sense.
What are you doing, though? You keep saying you'll explain.
Ah, yes, constantly saying, I can explain, instead of actually explaining.
Oh, I'm changing the patrol route on this drone. Gonna have it watch the area while we're inside. You know, just in case anything happens tonight.
Fair enough.
Are you expecting anything to happen? Like, did something happen at your interview?
Other than me nailing it? Nope.
Hey,
Even got invited back for a second one.
congratulations, Isaac. I'm happy for you.
Oh, really?
Yep. And you were all worried for nothing.
I wouldn't exactly call it nothing, but it's good to know we're safe.
I think he meant to say congratulations.
Right. Sorry.
Isaac stands up and grabs a piece of paper from his pocket. Without missing a beat, he hands it over to Dante.
This is just a piece of paper that says my words.
Huh. Naive Melody, welcome. When man first discovered fire, he said to let that man cook. It's me, Naive Melody. Leonhard, you associate the song with Chiron because it first played when we met it. It absolutely did, yeah. By the way, did you lose some... Sorry, I can't read that. It's hidden behind the thing. Did I lose something today after starting the stream? Oh, some subs, I'm assuming what you're saying. Actually, let me take a quick look. Did I lose any subs today? Great question. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did. I absolutely did lose some subs. Unless this hasn't updated yet. Yeah, no, I dropped through them about 32,020 down to 32,005. Every time I stream this game, I lose subs. Oh, that's hilarious to me. I'm not bothered too much because it's just a drop, but if I look back, the first time I streamed this, I lost 19 subs on that day. That's like, not just during the stream, that's over the day. And then last week, I lost 7 subs from that one. That's hilarious to me. People getting so offended about furry content that they're like, unsubscribe! I have to unsubscribe, can't watch furry content. Good lord. People are so sensitive. Like, that's the kind of person that's out there calling everyone a snowflake because they're like, support whatever, but they're the real snowflakes if they're offended by this. Really. Oh dear, so funny. Alright, so piece of paper that says my words.
Yeah, you can go ahead and eat them now. Can't believe you doubted me, man.
That's a nice one. I want to use that at some point.
I can definitely believe it.
Seconded.
They look at me and Clace for backup. We just shrug. Isaac has stuck to his word and delivered exactly what he promised. If I were Taylor or Dante, this would be a turning point in how I felt.
I'm just glad we're all safe.
Yeah, I nod.
Yeah, and I plan to keep it that way. I can check again during my follow-up interview. It's not scheduled yet since New Year's Eve is so close.
With a smirk, he lets go of the drone and stands up. It immediately flies off, sticking to whatever route he planned. It's impressive to see him do this. He really is a genius when it comes to tech.
Besides, they're super busy with the whole Cypher and Hermes thing. I'm surprised they even had time for an interview given this situation.
Yeah, I guess we picked the perfect time to do all this stuff.
How fortuitous.
You mean Isaac picked the perfect time. When you say it the other way, I feel like an accomplice.
Technically, you are. But before you can cut in with
Okay,
some snark,
60 seconds is
I
gone.
have a question. What did you do at the interview, Isaac? To check if we're safe, I mean.
Naive Midi, so has there been a decision on which character is being sought out, or are we still doing the Tokameki Memorial best friend tree ending? No, we did a vote. We did a vote, and it has been decided that we are pursuing Dante, the one with like the black and purple fur. Is the one we're going for. It's been decided through the power of democracy. We will be pursuing Dante. Friendship ended with Isaac. Dante is love. Dante is life. No, different Cypher, but Bill Cypher from Gravity Falls was a great character. That was an awesome show.
Oh, good question. This actually goes all the way back to our nightclub outing. You know, when Dante dropped those bottles on the street.
Actually, no, we do still have some sexy sax in the background. I take it back.
So much for never mentioning it again.
I should thank you for it, actually. It gave me the perfect opportunity.
Seriously?
Yep. Sure enough, a drone came by to clean it up. But since litter is illegal, it had to look up street cam footage. That's the first thing they do. Try to find out who's responsible. I knew that there'd be no data on Chiron, which is bad. It would immediately flag him as a zero and get us in trouble. I rushed to create his identity and even uploaded facial data.
Facial data?
Yeah. It scanned our faces and looked for a match in the database. Because I was fast enough, it was able to find Chiron's as well. So we may be guilty of litter, but nothing more. I promise.
That's actually kind of impressive.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it was easy to look into during my interview. When I was at their HQ, all I had to do was pull up the incident report. If we were in trouble, there'd be notation, or the case would be escalated.
And it wasn't?
Nope. It was marked closed by an Argus agent. Just something about drunk friends having a good time. All of our names are clear in the system. Trust me.
Imagine if every couple was actually 17 minds in one, struggling to communicate how to date the other person. I'm pretty sure some people actually live with something close to that. That's multiple personality disorder. I think there's a better name for it out there. I think that name's kind of outdated, so apologies if I've used the incorrect terminology there, but that is a reality for some people. Chiron scoffs and breaks his silence. I wondered why he was just standing there. But that said, Naive Melody, I do love the idea of someone's life being run by, like, Twitch or YouTube chat with, like, thousands of people spamming comments, almost like Twitch plays Pokemon style, but real life. That would be absolutely amazing. Yeah, DID, that's what I was thinking of. Dissociative Identity Disorder, thank you. I knew there was a better term for it. Yeah, specifically 70 completely separate people all wearing one big coat. Yeah, okay, that would be hilarious. They'd have to all communicate some way and have like one person as a spokesperson, otherwise it'd be a little bit just too unmanageable, but yeah, that'd be real. And now I think about it, I would love to see someone do real life Twitch plays, just reality. That could be an absolute mess. It'd be great though. So, I wondered why he was just standing there.
Now I know why you wanted all those photos of me after the nightclub. Too bad. Thought maybe you came back outside to ask me on a date.
Everyone in this game is just constantly horny.
He probably wants to.
Couldn't blame him.
He laughs, trying to signal that it was a joke. And at least now I know what Isaac did when he went back outside that night.
And sorry for not being too talkative. All this city talk goes right above my head. At least I know what those flying things are now.
No, of course, you never would have grown up around drones to know what the hell those were. We must be talking about the drones. I guess those topics will be pretty intimidating for him. I can't even imagine the culture shock of entering the city walls.
Well, I don't think we'll need to talk about that stuff anymore. Taylor and Dante just wanted me to put their minds at ease.
Yeah, Gray, I'm so glad you mentioned Doug. I was like, if anyone has done something like that, it's probably Doug. Because, let's face it, his streams are amazing, and the way he engages with and, like, utilizes his Twitch chat as part of the stream is just next level with what he does. A lot of admiration for that guy and what he does with his Twitch streams. It's freaking entertaining as all heck.
And I think I did?
I definitely have no aspirations to make my streams into anything like that. These are always going to be more chilled, more laid back.
Definitely made a lot of progress. Yeah.
I'm good to go. Feel a lot safer too.
It's true. I could tell that the tension in the air was fading away. It helps to know that we're truly under the radar and without suspicion. Especially as tensions rise and Argus's presence increases in the city. It's not the same with Doug because Doug actively competes and fights with Twitch streamers. Yeah, he does. There's that real push-pull dynamic between the two of them. A video where Twitch chat plays D&D, that does sound amazing.
I'm just as happy as them to leave this stuff behind. And if we're safe, maybe I can even come to New Year's Eve.
It's starting to look more and more hopeful. But let's focus on tonight. We still need to get you inside.
Yep, one step at a time.
Back door, right?
Yeah, but it can't be all of us. Some of us should enter the front door at the same time. If anything, just to make sure that the door guy is occupied.
That's a sensible decision. Everybody glares at Isaac.
What?
Well, I'm pretty sure I speak for all of us here, but this was your idea, so you need to do the dirty work.
Yeah, we'll all go in the front. You two can sneak in the back, but we'll save a table, so don't worry.
Can't wait to see this go wrong.
Sorry, Isaac, but I feel the same way. I can't risk getting caught as much as you can.
All right, that's fair. I just imagined a bit more teamwork.
It's still teamwork, you're not going solo.
We're causing a distraction for you, Isaac. If if they have to ID all of us, you'll have more time. Maybe you should be the one saving a table for us.
Isaac shrugs and nods, realizing Taylor is right. This was a team effort, and our entrance bought time for Isaac. I look over at Chiron and see a hint of worry remaining on his face.
What should we do if people start to suspect me? Or report me? You know, just thinking worst case scenario.
We've gone over this. You run.
Run, most likely.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have some sort of code word? Something to tip each other off, but not make a scene?
Like a spy movie?
Like a spy movie.
Maybe we could say we're in the mood for vodka.
Bad idea. I already am.
How about karaoke? We can use that as the code word. I could even sing to cause a distraction.
Do they have karaoke in there?
Yeah, loaded with a ton of songs, too. Maybe you can sing one of your own, Clace.
If I need to, I will.
Perfect.
Okay, that works.
If we need a distraction in the bar, Clace can get on stage. But what do we do? Just make our way back home? What if they send out agents or drones to catch us?
Run, most likely. But
Running
I doubt
is
it'll
always
ever
the
come to
answer.
that. The scan should work just fine. But I am prepared.
Isaac waves his phone in front of us with a smirk.
I can pull up a live map to help us avoid any drones. If we need to, we'll make it back home without a trace. Is that good? Can we go inside and party now?
Everyone looks at each other and nods. It seems like we had an entry plan and several exit plans. No matter what happened, we'd be prepared to take on the night. I'm a bit worried about potentially leaving Clace behind while he sings, but the more I think about it, the more I think he'd be okay. Argus wouldn't make a move on an idol while they're performing. Would they? I just hope that things went smoothly. So we know from here we're going to get into like the big chunk of narrative between acts 2 and 3. So it's either going to go smoothly and we just play through the events of the night, or it's going to go very complete opposite of smoothly. It's going to be an absolute disaster, and we're going to be playing through us trying to get back home unscathed. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, always bring Hatsune Miku on a heist. Oh god. Yep, just digital distraction. Job done. It was good to be cautious, up to a point. After a while, you're just overly paranoid. Thankfully, Isaac dealt a big blow to any paranoia. Even Dante seemed ready to party, which was saying something. And so, we head inside, our bond feeling as strong as ever. I just hope it stayed that way. Alright, that brings us to the end of that segment. And that brings us very neatly to the end of our stream. So, let's make sure we drop down a save there. Don't want to lose any of that progress. That would be a complete and utter disaster. And we're going to switch back. Apologize to people that only kind of like literally just joined in. That was kind of unfortunate timing, but I appreciate you being here anyway. We're definitely getting somewhere interesting with the story now, and I'm curious to see where it goes. Naive Melody, Will Smith, I choose you! Let's face it, if you've got Will Smith there, he's not going to be singing. He's just going to run up to people and slap them in the face. And that's enough of a distraction, really. Actually, good point. Will Smith only knows one move in his entire, like, arsenal, and it's double slap. Amazing. Oh, dear. But no, thank you everyone for being here. Before we sign off, just a quick heads up for people. I've been thinking about it in the back of my mind. I think next stream we are going to carry on with Komorebi. We're going to play through and get up to the start of Act 3. And then we'll probably change tact and we'll do something different for a stream, and we'll jump over back to Cursed Crackers, because I think we can probably finish that one off with just a single stream, because I think we were pretty much bang on halfway through it at the end of the last one. And that way it gives us a little bit of a breather, and then we can come back into Komorebi fresh. I think that sounds like the way to go. Now, it does unfortunately mean that there's going to be a few streams lined up before we get to... oh yeah, sorry, let me drop that down. Music is a little bit loud. It does mean we've got a few streams lined up before we'll be able to do another vote and actually have a randomly selected one again, but we will get there. 41 name drops. Oh my goodness, that is quite a lot. Reminder as well, new video review coming out tomorrow. This is going to be for 0 degrees north, 0 degrees west. That's the next one coming out. I hope you guys enjoy that video. Had some fun making it. It's not like the most involved or has like the most memes or anything in it. It's just a really intriguing game. So I hope you enjoy the review video for that one. And then the following week, we're out of the 0 section and we're into number 1. And then we're going to be there for quite some time. Turns out there's not many games that have 0 in the title of them. Don't know why. It's just kind of how it is. Gray, always appreciate you checking in for Panda. As usual, she is doing just fine. We are getting some cold weather here at the moment. We're getting a very late winter blast come through, potentially some snow next week. Kind of weird getting that in March. We don't normally. But it means that she's just enjoying being snug and cozy as always. No worries, Luke. No worries, Ice. Always happy to run the stream. And like I said, just appreciate you guys hanging out and being here and having some fun. I will see you guys, well, I won't see you, but I'll be around, commenting, replying to comments on the video when it drops tomorrow. But otherwise, I will see you guys next week to continue the story in Komorebi, because I am very curious to see where this goes. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your days, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.